3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
All right. That was a good video. We got to start.
Okay.
Welcome to the Better Than Vegas Degenerate Special presented by Busch Racing Stables this week here at StableDuel. I'm Blackjack Fletcher. I'm going to be guiding this shit show along the tracks this week. Brian is apparently in his what appears to be lovely backyard having a beer, and Leo is being held captive by Al Qaeda somewhere.
with his Celsius.
That's right, baby.
I'm going to crack one with you here, Brian. This is for people, I think this is only available in Florida. Funky Buddha Hard Seltzer, okay? Funky Buddha is a brewery down here. This is some of the best stuff I've ever had in terms of the seltzer category. However, I haven't tried this flavor. So this is passion fruit, dragon fruit. Very exotic.
And
it's delightful. It's delightful.
Not as good as slap in the bag, huh?
Oh, Jesus, please don't remind me, brother. That was awful. There was like 3 people that called me to check on me after that stream. Like, it was bad.
Dude, your shade of red got worse.
Dude, there was wine everywhere. I had to bleach my shorts. There was wine everywhere. It was a shit show. So obviously we're here every Wednesday to guide you all through your StableDuel lineups in the Penn National contest tonight, the Degen special at Penn National, which costs how many dollars, Brian?
$3.
$3.
$3.
That's inappropriate, Leo.
I love how all 3 of us
prefer you not make
sign for 3. You did this, Brian did this, and I did this.
I'd prefer you not do that. This is a family-friendly stream, asshole. So we've got a bonus, though, tonight. This is not the normal Penn National game, which we're all going to be in, even if some of us haven't gotten our stables together quite yet. We're all going to be in this game. But, Brian, there's an extra little bonus this week because of our, I'll say friend for the moment, although we may have a bone to pick with him when he gets here, our friend at Busch Racing. Tell everyone what the extra little bonus part tonight is with Busch Racing.
To be fair, the bone to pick's probably really not with him.
Nope, it's not.
That's elsewhere. So we love Dave. No, I guess if you for whoever puts all 3 of Dave Busch's horses in your stable and finishes with the highest score amongst the stables that have all 3 of Dave Busch's horses, you will win a shirt, courtesy of Dave Busch Racing.
Now, let's tell the people who are those horses and where are they located?
They're in the 4th, 5th, and 11th races.
Okay, 4th race. It's got to be My Way, who I'm using for $6,500. In the 5th race,
Hard Bell, the 5
Hard
horse.
Bell, 8,000. Plugging that in right now. And in the 11th race,
this is his prime horse, Pictor.
and that one's in too. Listen, I can't not take Dave's horses. I love Dave. I take his horses all the time. So now I've got very little left to work with here. So going to need long shots from you two. Going to need prices.
That's unfortunate.
I was going to say, why don't you tell everybody how much that just cost you?
$24,300. So just about 49.7% of my allotment here. So it's going to be interesting to see how I make the rest of this up. But nonetheless, we are here to do just that. We're going to have some other guests joining us throughout the show. Unfortunately, I don't believe we're having XFL Jim, who is my new best friend. XFL Jim is just the wildest human being I've ever seen. I love him. I have to mention this. Leo defeated me in sudden death overtime in round 1 of the NCAA tournament. I want to say it was a thrilling battle, but really we both just sucked horribly. And I sucked that much more than Leo did. That first round was a shit show, was it not?
Oh, it was absolutely brutal. I actually got eliminated in round 2. Something that I realized this weekend on Better Than Vegas. Go to betterthan.vegas, get all your handicapping needs right there. But Something that I realized this weekend is that if I'm not allowed to bet on money lines, I'm actually not that good at this. I realized that this weekend, like the money lines, like I had a fairly good personal weekend, and then looking at my numbers on BTV because we were only allowed to go against the spread or over under. Man, I suck. Jesus Christ, I stunk all weekend, and then the stupid Kansas game, the stupid Kansas game. The Big 12 can bite me.
I mean, I don't want to turn this into a full-fledged college basketball thing, but while we're talking about it, how about the Pac-12? Jesus.
Wow.
Not just winning games, but blowing teams out.
That Kansas game absolutely killed me. USC, I was all over USC because I didn't think they have the guards. I didn't think they had guards to play. Turns out you don't need guards anymore. No problem. When the other team can't hit a shot and you got the Mobley brothers, you are good to go. No questions asked. That was
Brian,
a royal beatdown.
I'll loop you in here because I can tell you my reticence about Kansas started very early this year when they played Kentucky in that game early in the year. And Kansas for the first half just looked like they couldn't hit a shot at all. And, I mean, it was some of the worst shooting I've seen from a major college program in a long, long time.
Yeah, Kansas also killed me, Leo, as you well know. Yeah. It was down to that game for both of us, and we were on the wrong end of it. But, yeah, that Kansas game, it actually gave me a glimmer of hope as a UK fan this year. And, obviously, Kentucky's terrible. So
let's talk a little bit about what we've got coming up here at StableDuel this week because it's a big, big week. Florida Derby is on Saturday. The Florida Derby is an enormous prep race for the Kentucky Derby, as we all know. You'll have Greatest Honor coming back, trying to complete that trifecta at Gulfstream Park, the Holy Bull Fountain of Youth and Florida Derby. Bob Baffert shipping in Spielberg for this one, which interesting. I mean, Bob's not usually a huge player in the Florida Derby, and I read he's making the trip. So he himself is coming, probably because he knows I'll be there. That's my anticipation. He saw that I would be there. I saw Bob Baffert at the Belmont Stakes for Justify and got to talk to him for a second. We were just in the concourse. The man's suit was resplendent. I mean, it was a gorgeous suit. It was a beautiful French blue, if you remember that day. Justify won the Triple Crown. Great suit. So he'll be there. We have a huge contest that day. Brian, tell the people about the StableDuel contest for the Florida Derby and what they can win in this contest.
Well, not only can they win a huge chunk of money, the $25,000 guarantee, but we coupled with Victory Racing Partners, who is going to give away a 1% share, bill-free, of a Connect Colt. Blackjack, I'm sure you remember Connect, graded stakes winner.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, absolutely fabulous horse. This is exciting first crop. I believe it's his first crop, actually. So nice looking colt. We've had videos.
Yep.
And you'll be an owner.
Yeah, you get 1% of this horse. And the best part, as Brian and I can attest, is that there are no bills coming along with it. So that's really important because the bills can be quite pricey. So you can get that. You can get the money with it. It's going to be a great contest. $150 to enter, which may seem steep to some people, but the reality is if you're betting the Florida Derby that day, it's 14 races. To bet that all, I mean, and spend less than $150 is going to be tough. Enter the contest, and you'll have action the entire day from 11:30 until 7 at night. So really, it's a value when you look at it that way. And you don't run the risk of being bounced out after one race.
Yeah, I think a lot of people see that 150 number and kind of get scared off, like, oh, that's a huge bet. But when you think about it, I mean, if you bet $10 a race, which I think is very minimal in the gambling world, I mean, it's 14 race card. Like you said, there's 140 right there. And, you know, so why not play StableDuel, have a full day of fun?
And if you're betting $10 a race, you're not going to win $25,000. That's just it's not in the cards.
100%. No chance.
So
Man,
this
it's
is really,
$150. Come on. We're here to beat degenerates. I am Degens United. You have to beat degenerates. Let's go.
It's the way to do it.
$150. Stop getting coffee for a month if you suck. It's okay.
Agreed. So definitely the way to go. Also, I feel the need to mention this because I've said on this stream now several times how I love StableDuel, but I'm terrible at the game. There were 2 opportunities this week to enter Parks contests where there were very few entrants in them. And they were double and triple up contests, meaning you could, just triple your entry fee if you just place in the money. I finished dead last in both, including one with entrants. 7. It's unbelievable to me how bad I am at this game.
I think the double up pays 40% of the stables too.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I get it. I think the double and triple ups are the way I see our big daily fantasy people. They really take advantage of those to build the bankrolls for weekends like this with the Florida Derby. It amazes us sometimes. Like, I mean, we look and we're like, oh, there's 4 people in there. I mean, you throw in $100, you're almost guaranteed, unless you're Blackjack, to triple, double your money. So
it's absolutely awful. But I will try to be better tonight. I'm using all 3 of Dave Bush's horses, which means this is going to get hinky real quick for me. But I can't let Dave down. Dave's my guy. You know that, Brian. We're trying to get a horse for Leo from Dave as well, so he can understand the pain that we're in right now.
I'm sure we'll get in it with you, Leo. Don't worry.
No speaky.
All right, so we've got the Penn National contest tonight. Brian, I assume your stable is already done. Leo, I think you're in the same boat as me. We're going to do this on the fly.
Baby.
For legal purposes, I cannot play the stable,
but you have looked at it and put together.
Absolutely, I've looked at the card. Correct.
We are disasters and haven't done this yet. So let's bring in the man right now who is sponsoring this stream, the one and only Dave Bush.
Hey!
What's going on, guys?
Man.
Good to have you here, my friend. So you're sponsoring this contest tonight. People are going to have a chance to win a lovely shirt, courtesy of Bush Racing Stables. And they have to use your 3 horses in this contest, which, as I just stated, they are the only 3 entrants in my stable currently. So that's where I'm at in this contest. Dave, let me start by asking you, these 3 are all relatively expensive. I mean, it's got to be my way is $6,500, Hardbell $8,000, and Pictor $9,800. If you were going to use just one of these tonight, which one would it be, and why is it Pictor?
Why is it Pictor? Actually, so I built a second stable. I'm playing in the contest because I want to see who can beat me using all 3 of mine. But then I built a second one. I think it's really difficult, which is why I think this contest is so fun, because it really kind of challenges your handicapping ability, right? When you don't have a lot of money to spend with your remaining 7 horses that you get to choose. So the horse that I used in my other stable was actually Hardbell. The 3-1, I think he was $8,000 in race 5. I used him simply because I think he's live tonight. I think he's got a good shot. And the entry that Jamie Ness has in the race, the 1-1A, I think are both scratched. They were the 2-1 favorite.
Was that 2-2B?
2-2B, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there's a 1-1A in there as well. So the 2-2B are both out, which was the 2-1 favorite in the race. I think I was the second choice at 3-1.
Okay, very nice.
I just the struggle is, and I'd love to hear this from maybe Blackjack or even Beho. You guys have done it. How much is Pictor? 9,800, 9,600, 9,800. Would you ever pay 9,800 for any horse? I don't know that I would.
The only way I would do it in a normal circumstance, and I'm doing it tonight because it's you and this is the contest that we're in, is if I really thought that the horse had a chance to be one of those horses that will win by open lengths. If I felt that this horse is 5 or 6 lengths better than anybody else in this thing, then yes, I do it. Very reluctantly, but I would do it. I'll be honest with you, Dave. I look at Pictor, and Pictor looks like a goddamn machine here. I mean, I know this is a little bit of a step up in class, but I mean, you've got a horse here that has performed exceptionally well over the last 3 times out. Do you have any reservations about him tonight?
I think he's going to run a good race. I think the challenge is, and you're right, I mean, I think if you can get a horse right that's going to win by 5 or 6 or open lengths, and I guess maybe it's worth the 9,800, 9,600. My reservation would just be the fact that he drew the rail in here. It's going 5.5. Looks like there is some other speed if he doesn't break great. And maybe doesn't get the lead or something else, then perhaps maybe there could be some trouble. But I think on paper he certainly looks pretty tough in here. I mean, he was geared down in both of his last 2. If you watch those races, I mean, he went really quick in his last race. Those fractions.
Can you
really
maybe tell Tyler Connor not to gear him down in this one, to just go full throttle to the wire?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess for this contest, right? I guess I should tell Tyler that we need an open line score, right, for the contest.
Yes, that's what I need.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be tough. I think going 5.5 certainly plays into his game, and he's drawn the rail. So if he catches a clean break and he makes the lead, then he's going to have the shortest trip around the racetrack on the rail. So
the one that kind of worries me in this race, Dave, and I'm curious to get your take on this, is the 6 #winning.
Yeah.
The other Kreiser horse. This is a horse who is shortening up quite a bit here in terms of distance and taking a pretty steep drop after having run fairly well at the $25,000 allowance level. What are your thoughts on the other Kreiser horse here, #winning?
Yeah, so I totally agree. I mean, I think the cutback is going to be big for this horse. I think the distance, mile 16, mile 70, just stretches him a little bit too much. In the stable that I created, the second one that I created that does not have all of my 3 horses, I actually used #winning in this race. So if that means anything, I didn't use Pictor. I used #winning in the second one that I created. I certainly think he's going to be the one to fend off late. Whether the 5.5 is just a little too short for him, maybe he wants 3/4 of a mile, so 6 furlongs, but he's going to be the one to fend off late.
I like it. Leo, have you made any progress in your stable yet, or are you still just playing around?
Yeah, so I need one more horse here. Come back to me. Brian, what you got here?
What in the 11th?
Well,
Just buy me a race.
We don't need to start just yet. Gino's going to join us in a few minutes, and
okay.
We'll start going through the card in earnest once he gets here.
I'll tell you this, Pictor's the real deal, Dave. I love that horse. I've actually bet on it the last couple times it's run. Strong horse. Great claim for you guys. And you asked if we would spend that much money on a horse like Pictor at Penn National in this spot. Absolutely.
He's one. Okay. Yeah. So funny story about actually Pictor and that claim. I get to him here, so I have it right. So that particular horse, I wanted to claim for $8,000 November 6th. Decided not to. He was claimed that night and ran second. I then dropped a claim on him December 4th for $62.50. The day that he ran 6th, beat 21. I lost a 4-way shake that night, which I guess maybe I was happy, but I really wasn't. I was only happy because of the fact that the very next race, then he came back for $4,000. So I actually saved myself $2,000. And the day that he came back for 4, I only had to win a 2-way shake for him. So there was 4 people all in for the horse for $62.50. When he became discounted by $2,000, only 2 people wanted him, and I was the lucky one to get him that night. And yeah, he's just shot straight up the claiming rank since then. He's a really well-bred horse. I mean, he's by Munnings, and the mare Listen In's, she throws just competitive, nice horses. I mean, none of them are stakes quality horses, but they're all runners, which is what I really look for in running a claiming stable. So,
were you there for the shake or no?
I was not. No, I was not there either night. So,
Leo, do you know what a shake is?
Absolutely no idea. I've been completely lost for 5 minutes.
This is one of those. This is one of those times since it's a beginner show. Moment. Dave, tell him exactly how it all goes down.
Yeah. So what happens in a race, any claiming race, which is probably like 90 or 95% of races that are run around the country, all of the horses in that particular race are for sale for the claiming price of the race. So if any other owner and trainer want a horse out of that race, they fill out a claim slip. It's basically like a little mini bill of sale, I guess you will, saying we want this horse. You drop it in a box 10 minutes before the race goes off. It's a hard cutoff at the 10-minute mark before the race goes off. And then if there's only one person that drops a slip for that horse, they get the horse immediately after the race. So they walk away with the horse. If there are multiple people that go for that horse, then there's what's called a shake, where basically they give each claim slip a number. So number 1, 2, 3, 4. You sometimes know or don't know what number you are, and then they shake. I call it like a pill jar. I don't really know what you call it. It's kind of like the game Yahtzee, I guess. Is the easiest way to put it, right? Yep. It looks like the little jar that you got in Yahtzee, and only one little dice or pill, little beat ball comes out with one number on it, and that particular individual gets the horse after the race. So they call it the shake. I've been involved in shakes anywhere from like 15 people in it to sometimes there's no shake and it's just one. So at Penn, 4 or 5 is a lot of people for a horse. If you go to Keeneland here in 2 weeks, which we'll be going there and trying to get a couple of horses. I mean, you're going to be shaking like 20.
You're going to be there too?
I don't know if I'll be there in person, but I'll be there in spirit claiming horses. I might. In fact, I might be running a horse there as well too. So we'll see.
Dave, I want to take this moment while we have you to ask you about the horse that you gifted to Brian and I.
Right. Yeah. So what happened there? I heard you guys say a bone to pick with me. What's going on here?
I don't actually have a bone
to pick with you.
I have a bone to pick elsewhere.
Sweetie.
I mean, I never did any work on her. I mean, that horse, we never did anything to her. I mean, she ran consistently.
What are your thoughts on her? I mean, like, because I know when we first met, going back a year and a half ago now or so, you were very, very high on her. What are your thoughts on her? When you divested yourself of her.
Yeah, so I think for me, I mean, and like I said to you guys, I mean, I could have sold her probably for a couple of thousand, just someone at Penn. I thought it'd be fun, for you guys, just simply the fact that you're always around for her. She was okay. I laid her off for like 4 or 5 months. At one point there, whenever like COVID hit, I just thought it'd be nice to just kick her out to the farm. We didn't do anything to her; just simply kicked her out. When she was out at the farm, she like whacked her shin on something, and so of course, just like anything else, we had to X-ray it and everything else. And then she came back and she was good for us. She wasn't a horse that we really had any problems with at all. She just, I think honestly her biggest issue is she ties up, which happens sometimes with mares. They get really nervous and she ties up. And so, for horses like that, they just need to be treated differently. Sometimes there's different feed programs you can put them on. There's, different things that you could give them to just help to calm them down a little bit. And I think that's her biggest issue. She's her own worst enemy, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we never had any physical issues with her. Like, I mean, you see the form. I mean, she ran every 2 weeks, or as soon as that race came up, we put her in.
How do you think, in your mind, Penn National translates to Tampa in terms of form?
Yes, that's a good question. I don't I watch some of the races at Tampa, but I'll be quite honest with you. Like, I don't dig into the condition book like I would.
Pretty bad.
Like, I know some of the races they write, like the 5,000 1 and 6. I don't know if there's a 5 2 and 6. I'm not sure what else is down there. So I don't dig into it that way. I guess the bottom's the bottom. I mean, sure, if you're running at the bottom at Tampa or the bottom at Penn, I would guess that you're going to be somewhat competitive down there. But I don't watch enough of the races to know like what kind of buyer numbers you need in order to compete at the 5,000 level at Tampa versus like at Penn. If you're a girl sprinter and you run, mid 40, 50 buyer, like you're going to compete at the bottom. I don't know what Tampa is.
Yeah. I mean, she's got some decent buyers in her past. I mean, she's definitely, run well. I'm hoping that the sunshine and maybe running in daylight will help. I don't know.
I mean, she's just one of those horses. I think just a grinder. If you look at all of her form, like she is what she is at this point, right? I mean, I don't think she's going to be anything more than, just kind of a, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 horse, run her through the conditions. But I thought it was a horse you guys might be able to have a little fun with. But
I'd like to.
Yeah,
maybe.
Now we need to talk offline because I need to know what your boy is thinking here.
Stay tuned.
Well, I mean, unless he pops on this stream, there's no way for me to know that.
Leo, by the way, he mentioned the horse ties up, muscle cramp.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to be like spitting out.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It was another learning.
Use the context clues. I'm trying to figure stuff out. You should get your butt to Keeneland, buddy, because I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be stealing Blackjack's belt.
So when are you guys going? There's a chance that I'm running a horse. My horse, actually, the one that's in New York, Timely Tradition. Chance I'm running her on the 2nd of April.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That's opening day. We'll all be there.
Opening day? I think it is, yeah.
I'm going to be there from the 31st to the 4th.
Okay. Well, I might have one in on the 2nd, so maybe I'm not sure if I'm going or not at this point.
Well,
but
you should come down because apparently it's going to be a party.
Yeah, maybe we should claim it.
What's the deal? I hope you do, actually. In fact, I think she's going to be an allowance race, but if she is in for the claim price, yeah, by all means, $62,500, you can have her. I'll even deliver her to you for that price.
Nope. Too rich for my blood.
Don't get Brian too excited here. Brian wants to jump in on this.
No speaking.
Here's what we need to do.
I think that's
I've been saying to you guys all along, threw the bone on the one for on Guilty, and again, I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll talk about that. But we got to get something going at Penn at some point.
I would love to. In all seriousness,
Let's do
and
it.
we can talk about this off air.
Yeah.
Brian and I have
Yeah.
talked about wanting to get involved with something, and I told him that you were the guy. Rather than trying to do this half-cocked on our own, I'd rather have someone who actually knows what the hell they're looking at. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I always have a list of horses that I'm constantly looking at. I mean, Pictor was on that. I actually claimed last time we were on this live stream. I don't know if you guys recall.
yeah,
but
you did claim a horse.
I told you I liked Wiretap, and it was
Yep.
an 8-1 shot, and it was pretty cheap in
Got the win.
the stable. She won.
Yep.
I was pissed she won because I didn't want to lose the condition. I was like, you got to be kidding me. She won. I claimed her. In fact, she's a half sister to Pictor. So
Wow.
I forget who she's by. Is it Tapazar? Maybe one of them. I can't recall. She's a half
that
sister to Pictor. 3-year-old
Is
half
that,
sister.
is that the chestnut you took the picture of? And
Yeah,
stuff?
that was like all hairy and kind of ratty looking. Yeah. We'll clean her up and get her.
You'll
looking
clean
good.
her up. I know.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump in here because I'm not sure when Gino's going to get here. So let's jump in. We've got 35 minutes or so until this contest starts at Penn National. $3 gets you in. Go enter at StableDuel. It's a great contest. We're going to have a lot of fun here tonight. Let's take a look at the first race on the card here. This is a race that I actually do have a horse in. I use the 2-horse here, Amazing Rip, at 5-1 on the morning line. I don't know. Horse is pretty consistently on the board here, especially at this level. So I thought you've got a pretty good shot at this horse coming in and getting you some points to kick this off. Brian, where did you go in the first?
Actually, you read my mind. I think you were looking at my notes. I'm on the same horse. You get a 10-pound bug allowance.
Mm-hmm.
Speed figs fit, and I actually went back because it's been sprinting, and I wanted to see, if there's any relatable distances back to this mile, and it ran twice at 1.70 at Finger Lakes in allowance races. The horse Bustin' Timberlake. I see that name, and I'm like, I know that horse. It just ran. So I look it up, and it ran second in a 40,000 optional claimer at Aqueduct like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
The other horse it ran against, that got where it ran fifth, Run for Boston, has been running strictly allowance races at Aqueduct. So I mean, we're talking those horses went from Finger Lakes to Aqueduct and are competing and making money. I'm thinking class alone may carry this horse, other than the other reasons, speed figures and so forth. So,
Dave, what do you got?
Yeah, so that horse. So every time I handicap a race, I always look for kind of a price play, meaning one that I get a bit of value in, and then a horse that I really think is going to win the race. 'Cause I think you need to look at it from two different perspectives when we're building a stable, right? Sometimes it's not about the winner; it's about getting a cheap horse that's going to hit the board and get you points. So my price play in here, and I know it's not that much of a price, so I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but is the 2-horse. I mean, I think that's the horse that if you're going to try to get a value play, it's the 2. I circled it. I wrote $sign next to it and said, this is the one. The horse that I went to, though, was actually the 6, was Kreiser's horse in here. And the reason why I like this, I mean, this is kind of a classic Kreiser move, right? Tries the horse, allowance. Now he's going to drop down to the $10,000 level, never won 3 life. Significant class relief for this particular horse. I'd be shocked if he's not on or near the early lead. Gets a really nice outside draw. I just think he's going to be tough in these particular spots. I look for horses coming down the ladder, not up the ladder.
Okay, I like that. Leo, what'd you do?
All 4 of us are on the same horse. Amazing Rip. I was on it too. I'm feeling pretty damn smart. This horse hasn't finished worse than 4th in his last 5 races. In 16 starts, he got 2 firsts, 3 seconds, and a third. Decent rate right there. Second in speed rank, third in value, low risk, 6,000. Not too bad. I got 2 stables because I'm coming for that T-shirt over there, Dave. I'm coming.
Yeah, and I still owe you
horses.
one, by the way. So maybe you don't have to come for the shirt. As soon as they come in for my guys up at Old Smoke, you got one coming your way.
I dig it. I'm
like
ready to go though.
If all 4 of us are on it, that means either we're really smart or this horse is going to run dead last.
well, we all got a bet on it. So, hey, Dave, I got a quick question for you, man. Since you know Penn more, the more and more I handicap Penn, I notice horses like that Kreiser horse that run in allowance races and then it'll drop down way low. I see Broberg do it at Delta. He'll run allowance, 4,000 claimer. And is it just because not that many people are taking horses, or is there just not that big of a difference in class there?
Yeah, I mean, so the allowance race is going to be much tougher, right? But you look at a horse like this, if it wins this particular race, It's in a never won 3 lifetime. A lot of racetracks at Penn, at least, not all I should say, but at Penn, they write conditions, lifetime conditions up to never won 4 life. So anyone claiming this horse would have one spot they could run back, or one kind of easy condition, if you will, which would be 10,000, never won 4 life. And then the horse is going to be an open company horse, right? So he's going to have to face open 10,000 claimers, open 12, 5, 16 claimers. And on paper, he's okay. He's not far off of it, but you just never know. These horses that kind of progress through the lifetime conditions, at the end of that, they could be a $10,000 horse with these conditions, and they might be worth 5 as soon as they hit open company. You're just facing really, really tough horses. So I think it's just him taking advantage. He's kind of said, right. And by the way, Tim owns this horse himself. So Golden Flame Racing is him. So, he owns the horse himself. So, he's saying, right, I tried these tougher races. He's run second. He's run third. I'm putting him in where he belongs. Win the race if someone takes him, move on.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the second here. This is a race that I personally sat out. We've got a $4,000 claiming race, non-winners of 1 here for 4-year-old mares and up. I believe this is where guilty with an excuse would be, no?
Well, this is going long. We normally sprinted her, but yeah, it could be.
All right, a bunch of slugs would be a pass. Dave, are you passing or are you playing this?
I passed it in both of my stables. I just couldn't find the right horse.
So this might have been the race for her.
There was no way I was spending the money on the 5 or the 3. And if I was going to play a horse, I would have took the 4, but I think there's a lot of question marks to spend like $7,000 on that horse, and you can spend that money elsewhere on something I was more confident in.
Leo?
I'm actually rolling with the 7 here. I've got Judgment Free, got it for $5,000. And it looks like you got 3 horses that are not going to be in the running. So as long as this horse can, make something happen, finish at least.
What are you talking about? There's no scratches. They're all in.
I know. I'm not no scratches, but Miss Forrester, 15-1. Platinum Affair, 15-1. Miss Aldila, they're at 20-1. I'm not overly concerned with those horses. I'm looking at Judgment Free.
That's the guy who picked 2 red cents.
Brother, in this group, I'd be concerned about all of them.
Second in speed rank, 6 in value, finished at least 4th in. I don't know what that's.
Leo, read that.
Gino? Bunch of slugs would be a pass. No, you guys are wrong. I'm rolling Judgment Free.
Right, let's go to the third. This is a race where I think there is really a very nice value pick here. I don't quite get the morning line.
Don't steal it from me.
Right.
It's the 8 for the moment, right?
Can you read that?
Hold on. Right? I don't quite understand 10-1 on this. Dave, maybe you can shed some light having known this track, but this is a horse I'm looking at the past performances, and I don't see 10-1 at all. So for $1,000, this was an easy ad.
Yeah, so I mean, you saw my comment there when I was doing this last night. I wrote, just bad odds. I think the odds maker just got this race wrong. I mean, I could be, maybe I'm the fool after it, but the fact that a 9 senior Ricci is 5-2 coming out of, $5,000 2 and 3 lifers. I mean, This is a significant step up for this horse. Not only is he stepping up in class up to $10,000 claimers, in his case, he's in for 9, but he's going to never won 4 life. So it's like the double step up, right? He's not taking 1 step up. He's going from 5 to 10, plus he's going from 3 to 4 lifers. A lot of times, unless you're a monster, it's tough for horses to win back-to-back through those lifetime conditions. I throw him out. I don't even think I don't even know if he hits the board, if I'm honest with you. The horse that I actually went to, though, so I did take, so the 8 is one that I think I took in one of the stables. But actually where I landed was on the 4 Free Dancer, and here's my rationale. So 3 back, and this horse is coming down the ladder, right? Which again is what I look for in this particular spot. 3 back, he catches Venomous State. He's a really tough horse. He's an open claimer. He's just a nice, solid, hard knocker. That 16B race, I should mention, means it's got 2 conditions applied to it. It's never won 4 life or not won a race in 6 months. And meaning by a race, meaning you haven't won for more than 12-5. So Venomous State's like a 10-time winner. Dupree, I used to own him. He's like a 10-time winner. He's good. If you look at the horse that this one caught 2 back when he got beat 17 lengths, that horse probably rings a bell. That was Pictor. And this is a speed horse. So Pictor bottomed it out. He couldn't run how he wanted to run. And, he was just throwing off his game. And if you look his next race out, then he only got beat a length. And if you look over to the comment line to far right, bobbled start. And I went back and watched the replay. He did bobble. and he ran, and he still kind of carried on to run well. Franz Warrior is entered in an allowance race next week. That's a Kreiser horse who won first off the claim, and Feudal is a decent horse along with Dupree. So in my opinion, this horse is getting significant class relief. He should be the favorite in this race. I think he probably will become post time, but we'll see. So that's where I landed. 4-8. And by the way, the one that I took because I needed a super cheap horse was Popcorn Station, I think in one of my stables for like $50. So that one could totally burn me, but we'll see.
That does not say popcorn.
It's Pacopsum.
Pacopsum, sorry. Yeah, you can see I haven't had dinner yet, so yeah.
Leo, go for it. What do you got?
I'm rolling with you again, dude. I'm going with For the Moment. 22 starts, placed in 10 of them. First in speed rank, third in value. Risk is pretty low. Finished in second last time out. Feel pretty good for $1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
steal.
tough to get around that one. I mean, again, the odds on that were just astounding to me on the morning line. So I think you definitely are getting some value there. Dave, let's go to the first race with one of your entrants, the fourth at Penn. We've got an allowance for $28,000 allowance race here. Your horse is at 9-2 on the morning line, which makes it the third choice on the board. It's got to be My Way. You've got Jorge Vargas Jr. up again, Tim Kreiser, your trainer there. Tell us what you see in It's Got to Be My Way here.
Well, first of all, I guess I would say that it's going to be really tough to beat the four bests. I mean, just flat out. I mean, the horse beat us by 6 lengths last time out. I think we're up against it trying to turn the tables on this particular horse. I guess, nice outside draw, 2 back. She ran second at this particular level. Crazy B, who beat her, came back to run second last week or week before last at the 2X optional 25 level. Granted, it was a scratch down field. That was the race that I had Take Me Home in when you guys were asking, why did you scratch Take Me Home at Penn? I think it was last week, week before. That horse ran second. So she's going to have decent races, but Bess is going to be the horse to beat. There's no other way to cut it. I told Tyler, I just hope I run second. Tyler's riding Bess. So I said, just don't beat me too bad because of my stable duel. I don't think you knew what that meant.
Brian, what do you got here, Brian?
I mean, I think Dave hit the nail on the head. I think his big competition here is Bess. That's probably the one I would have to play. There is a unique service horse dropping down from $25,000 allowance off a layoff. I don't know much about it, but it seems like maybe you'd play that one for a price. But I think Bess is the class of this race.
5-1 isn't bad on that service horse either.
No. Hey, Leo, what'd you do?
I'm going. It's got to be My Way. It's Dave's horse. Last time I took Dave's horse, he cruised to a win. I mean, this is an absolute no-brainer. It's top in the speed rank too. Sign me up, coach. It's number 1. Don't refute it. It's okay. It's number 1. It's right here. I got you. I got it all lined up right there, baby. It's got to be My Way. And Dave, we trust.
Yeah, I do like the horse, Dave. I mean, I've used this horse before in some tickets, and the horses run well. I mean, I get where you're coming from. That Bess is Bess had a really nice race last time out, and the one before that. But do it again, right? They don't run these races on paper.
Yeah, I mean, my horse is nice just because I think once turf season opens up, which we're not far away from that in the Northeast, I think she's got some options. I mean, you can see there's that Tampa form, now, and I think that'll transfer up to Penn. And up in the Northeast, particularly beginning part of the turf season, a lot of these races come off the turf because of rain or because of bad conditions. And she's the kind of horse who can go either way, right? She could run on the dirt or the turf. And in those races where they come off the turf, oftentimes when they go to the dirt, they're very small fields and there isn't much left in them because a lot of the horses can't go either way. And I think she can. So
I like it. All right, let's move on to the 5th race and let's bring in Gino. He is here. Well, he'll be with us momentarily. He just stepped away for a second. The 5th race here, allowance optional claimer, $25,000 for non-winners of 2-6 furlongs. We have a 5-2 morning line favorite here, Old Faithful. Hard bell at 3-1. Here he is. Gino, welcome.
Hey, Gino! How we doing?
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday, Gino.
Thank you. 34. Shaq, Sweetness. We're going through the list of the great number 34s today. So
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce. There you go. Yeah. Everyone's got a 34 they remember sometimes. So, wait, I got it. Might as well start it right away. I owe a shot from last week.
You do.
Lannister always pays their debts, as Beho would say.
What? Can somebody explain the reference to me? What the fuck is a Lannister?
I think it's a
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
What do you got there?
Wait a minute. That's not bourbon.
It's fine. It's Captain. It's fine.
All right. Nice.
It's fine. Don't
That's
be
questionable, Gino.
Happy
Was it
birthday.
I'll drink another few. That's what I go to most of the time because I can drink a lot of this more. You know what I mean? So I'll be
Happy
drinking for
birthday.
a while.
What's
That's
that flavor
good.
there, Blackjack?
This one is Starfruit. All right, so Gino, since you're here, let's go to you right off the bat here in the 5th at Penn. This is a little bit short field. The 2 and 2B are scratched in this one.
Even if I wasn't playing in the contest, I'd use the Bush horse here. Even if it wasn't part of the contest to try to get the incentive, I think Hard Bell's going to be really, really tough. Kind of got bumped around a little bit at the start. Was 3 wide chasing last time out. He just projects like he's going to get a really nice trip in here, sitting a couple lengths off the pace. I think he's probably the horse to beat, getting a real nice trip, especially after the scratch of the entry here. So to me, this was an absolute must-use spot for the Bush horse.
Obviously, I did the same. Dave, Hard Bell, you had mentioned, was one that you used, even if you thought Pictor was too expensive at 9,800. Tell the people his value on Hard Bell.
Yeah, exactly. So he was Hard Bell is a horse that I used in the other stable that I built, where I did not use It's Got to Be My Way. In fact, I used Best in that race with It's Got to Be My Way, and I used the other Kreiser horse #winning in my race with Pictor. I felt like this was the horse that the race just sets up really nice for him. Gino mentioned it. There's 2 speed horses. He's going to get the Garden Trip right behind him. And I think he gets first run in the leaders. You know, we've had the horse now for about 6 weeks, so he's into our program. I think he's going to be fit. I think he's going to be ready to roll. Tyler got the opportunity to work him earlier this week, said he felt really good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this horse is going to run big. And look, while we're talking about Florida Derby, you know, scroll down through this horse's PPs. I mean, he lost to Maximum Security in the Florida Derby, guys. So, come on. I mean, give him a little bit of credit. In fact, he lost to Maximum Security 3 times in his running lines.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Come
I think this is a nice one here.
He was 193-1 in the Florida Derby, but you know he ran in the Florida Derby.
got to be in it to win it.
He ran in the Florida. That's true. He did.
And I'm
run
going
in
further.
Florida.
And then his very next race, he was in for a 25K claimer. So there you go. Probably never happened before in the history of the Florida Derby. Florida Derby to 25K claimer, but
Well, I mean,
Maximum
Maximum Security kind of made the reverse jump.
Yeah. They're like, we can follow Maximum Security. We'll just have to do what he's doing. But he won. And I guess they figured we better not.
Right. Brian, what do you got here?
Well, I mean, I like Dave's horse. Dave, let me ask you this, though. Does the 6 worry you at all? I mean, there is some pace here. I think maybe that's where your horse getting this trip right off the pace is going to be awesome for it. But, you know, this horse is coming off 4 straight. Knows how to get to the winner's circle.
yeah, no, he does. I mean, it's kind of one that I'm kicking myself I didn't pick up for 10,000 there for back because I love Take Charge Indy. We don't get an opportunity to get the Take Charge Indy horses for a price typically at Penn. I have another Take Charge Indy running today at Charlestown, actuly. Horse named Take Me Home.
Take Me Home, yeah.
Thank God you guys don't have the game running there because she's 3 to 5 morning line down there, so I don't know what she would cost. But yeah, and she's a Take Charge Indy. I love the Take Charge Indies. I think it's just a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, it's a $15,000 stud fee, but he just throws some good runners.
What race at Charlestown's that horse in?
I'm in the 3rd at Charlestown tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do like that horse. I do think it's going to be tough. As Gino alluded to, and I think my kind of angle on this is Kreiser also has the 3-horse Old Faithful in here. And I don't know that the 6 is faster than the 3. Certainly not with the 3 drawn inside.
That's the problem. I think if either the 3 or the 6 wins this race, they're going to earn it. Because I feel like the other one's going to really keep them pressure. You should stalk in right behind them nicely, like in 3rd or 4th with Hard Bell, and just have every opportunity. If you're good enough, the race should really set up well for you. And keep in mind, with our Hard Bell, even with the scratch of the favorite, Old Faithful is actually would cost you more to use than Hard Bell. So you're not even necessarily having to spend up the most on Hard Bell here too. This seems like a really good spot.
Yeah, yep. I agree. Fingers crossed that it works out the way that we read it on paper. They don't always go that way. I wish they did, but
All right, let's take a look here at the 6th. We got 15 minutes to go until the first post at Penn National. Enter your StableDuel contest. $3 gets you in the Degen special. And if you use all 3 of Dave's horses, top person who does is going to get a free T-shirt, Old Smoke T-shirt, courtesy of Bush Racing. 6th race here, $5,000 claimers for mares 4 and up. I went with the 6 Gizmo Flash here. I needed to save a little bit of money moving through this using all of Dave's super expensive horses. Gizmo Flash was one that I think if you look at, I think this horse is definitely going to be on the board somewhere. I think has a chance to win this thing. Data Doll worries me obviously quite a bit, but I wasn't willing to pay the money there. Brian, what did you do here?
I like the 5 here. I thought it was cuckoo for coconuts, but that's not how you say that. It's for no nuts.
Right.
So
cuckoo for Kono nuts.
Yeah,
Konyo nut. I think that's a Brazilian nut. Maybe.
Whatever you say.
I could be making this.
Impressive 5-length win last time. Hopefully you get it again for StableDuel at a little bit of a price. 7 Diamond Moon looks to be the other horse to beat. I like the 5.
Maybe I'll make a change. I kind of like that 5 too. Gino, what did you see here in the 6th?
Well, you came and you gave without taking.
Mandy.
But I sent you away, oh Mandy.
Wow. Not a bad voice.
Barry Manilow, right? Can't hardly wait. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I don't think you need to spend up a whole lot on Mandy here, the number 3 at 12-1. So I think because her numbers and figures are a little bit low, she might be overlooked in here. But again, if you're playing and you're playing in using the Bush horses to get the incentive, you're going to have to shorten up in some race. And I think this might be a good one because she's kind of bumped around at the start. She was chasing 3 deep before, and so she was just not in a great spot. You're wide and you're in between horses. She kind of had to back out of it. She was chasing a 3 to 5 horse who was loose on the lead, and that horse just kind of stopped late. But the race shape wasn't really favorable to her today. I think she can tuck in pretty nicely, sit a nice trip, and at 12-1, going to cost me almost nothing. And if she can pick up some pieces in here, it'll give me an opportunity to sing the second verse of Mandy. 'Cause you kissed me and stopped me from shaking.
Somebody mute him.
I sent you away, oh Mandy.
Leo, you want to follow that?
No.
What'd you do here, Leo?
Oh, dude. I got a flat half for here. You got 27 starts, placed in 13 of them, only $1,000. Like you said, Dave's horse, they're so good. They're just so damn expensive. You got to shorten up somewhere. Don't start shaking your head. Don't you let me down tonight, Dave. I'm actually betting every one of your horses. Okay? Physically putting in wagers. Don't let me down tonight, Dave. But a little worried by 3 of their last 4 races where she finished 7th, 8th, and 10th. Just hoping that you place and get me some positive points. That would be lovely, please. Got a flat have her in this one.
All right, Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, so my price play in here was Hill Valley. When I set the stable
We are
last
all
night,
over the place here.
Yeah, I thought that horse, but he scratched. So I punted the race. I got nothing. We can move on out of interest of time.
Can we ask Brian what he has?
Oh,
You
right.
already asked me.
Never mind, Brian. Screw you. All right, 7th race here. Let's keep it rolling. We've got the morning line favorite is the 6 Brazilian Bay. Mad Mama sitting there, musical times, all these different choices. I went with the 8 Cal's My Pal. I like Cal's My Pal very consistently on the board here. I think you've got a good chance to pick some points up here and not spend a ton at 5,000. Leo, what did you do here?
Yeah, baby, Cal's My Pal too. I love Cal's My Pal. It's $5,000, 17 starts. They have placed in 11 of them. Top, got the best speed rank, 3rd in value. It has finished at least 3rd in its last 4 races. Got to be able to pick up some points here. Cal, I want you to be my pal. Get me some damn points tonight.
Gino, do you have any songs you want to sing for us here?
No, I thought the 2 Mad Mama was the one to catch and beat. I don't think there's a whole lot of their speed in here. I think if she gets loose, she could be pretty tough to run down. So I'll be using the Deuce Mad Mama 7-2 morning line.
Dave, what do you got?
Yeah, so this horses you guys have covered, I've covered in my 2 stables. So I couldn't afford Mad Mama in my Bush Racing one just because the others cost too much. But I agree with Gino. I think she gets loose in the lead. No one catches her. Proposition is a pretty nice horse. It was a Chrysler drop down. She had no shot in that race. Proposition is way too quick for her. So I would throw that one out. The fact that she stopped and eased, she just doesn't want to rate. In the Bush Racing one, I took Cal's My Pal. I think the cutback in distance is going to have that horse closing late. So I thought that was where the value lied in this race.
All right. I like it. We're kind of bouncing around a little bit here. It's good. Got some different variety of opinions. Let's take a look at the 8th. This is a short field here. You've got your heavy favorite, the 6, Gavi, at 8-5 on the morning line. The 4 is scratched. I went with a value play here because it's such a short field. I figured I wasn't going to spend the money. I took the 3, Empress Nefertiti. Dave, what did you see here in the 8th at Penn?
Yeah, so I actually went to a value play here. I didn't see any horse that was really worth the money, in my opinion. So I actually went to the 2, Iron Wilma. As I said, those Bush horses just cost me way too much money. I like the fact that it comes from Sant'Angelo into a new barn, adds the blinkers. This particular guy, granted, it's only 2 starts, but he's 50-50 with a $4 ROI, adding the blinkers. So there's not a whole lot there. But in a race where I thought there was really nothing else that stood out to me, the 2 is my value play.
All right. Gino, what'd you get here?
I think you guys hit the other 2 horses, and for me, it'd be the 5. Like, I would not spend up on the 1 or the 6 here. So whatever you have available in your stable, I thought the 5, Sparkles and Glitter, could get a really nice trip if the 1 and the 6 end up pushing each other. Sparkles and Glitter gets the trip. But the other 2 that you mentioned, they might be able to just kind of fall into a nice spot, Iron Wilma or even Empress Nefertiti, because the way the race unfolds on paper, small field, already a scratch. Those 2 are not quite as quick as the others. By default, they might be able to just kind of grind up and pick up a share. So this could be a really good race to not necessarily spend up on, I don't think, either the 1 or the 6.
Brian?
Yeah, so just an interesting side note here. The race that a couple of these horses come out of that Money Call won, I actually know the owner of that horse, and it got claimed last time out of a 5,000 claimer up there, and it ran 10th. Terrible. So I don't know if something happened. He seemed to think, the horse didn't run well that day and was happy to get rid of it. But he said there was nothing wrong with it. And, I just have a hard time playing the 2, even with the blinkers on change. When the 6 beat it handily last time. If I'm playing StableDuel, I'll leave this race alone. If I play it betting-wise, I'll probably play the 5 horse. But I'm not in love with this race at all.
Leo, what'd you do here?
Blackjack, we're on the same page, buddy. Empress Nefertiti here, only $1,000. You got a 5-horse race. So as long as it finishes top 4, you're probably going to get some points here, unless, of course, it's a blowout. But Empress Nefertiti, 3rd in speed rank, finished 5th, 4th, and 5th in her first 3 races, hoping that they don't get blown out and we get some type of points here. Who knows? Maybe even finish 3rd. That would be lovely. But feel pretty good about grabbing some points here with the cheap horse.
All right, let's move on to the 9th race here. $16,000 claimer, non-winners of 2 lifetimes, 6 furlongs. I went here with Scoop the Cash, the 2 horse. Dave, what do you think about the 2, and where did you go?
Yeah, so you read my notes. Apparently you're reading everyone's notes here.
Yep. Yep.
That means you're all going to do very poorly.
Horse, though, right? Because, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets bet down a little bit. So those are the kind of horses that you want to use in StableDuel. Anytime you can sniff out a bad morning line, when you're playing a horse in the contest off their morning line, sort of like the opposite of what you're doing pari-mutually, you want to make sure you get your 4-1. But here, if you look and you go, oh, that's a bad morning line, even if you don't love the horse, it's probably worth using them, in the long run, if you can always get the best value on your purchase.
And that was what it was. Again, spending all that money. I think it's a race that I didn't love anyone. I wasn't going to spend the $8,000 for the 6. I wasn't going to spend the 85 or the 8,000 for the 5. I went to the 2, just hoping I could pick up a piece and move on.
Leo, what'd you do here?
This one I rolled with you as well. I got Scoop the Cash. You got it $3,000. 12 starts, 5 places. Pretty content with that. 3 of their last 4 finished at least 4th. Won a race there. 5th in speed rank. Not overly a huge fan of this race, but figure maybe a little bit of value here at $3,000.
Gino, did you use this horse?
Yeah, I got Scoop the Cash too. What I like too, his 3 races for the new barn have all been pretty good. You've got 2 good efforts, and then one of them you have a legitimate excuse because it was in November, and then we didn't see this horse from November to February. So you always kind of build in an excuse when horses are gone for a few months like that. I think the barn has done really well with this horse, and I think he makes a lot of sense. He feels like a horse who's got enough tactical speed to just kind of grind along and stay in a good spot throughout, and maybe pick up at least second or third and get you some points along the way.
Brian, how about you?
A couple things. For one, I actually like the 3-horse here. Coming from Monmouth off a layoff, comes to Penn and blows them out by 14.5. Dave always talks about horses shipping in and into lesser company. It showed up, so I'll take a shot on him here. One interesting note for me, though, the 1-horse breaks its maiden last time out on its 19th attempt.
Yeah.
By 13.25 lengths.
Yeah.
Well, Mike called
Did it just wake up feeling dangerous?
Also, the 1 is scratched.
Well, good, because I just looked at that in the form, and I just don't understand how a horse wakes up. I would have never had that horse that day. I don't know how it was the favorite. Nobody's ever betting a horse 18-time maiden.
Well, he's a
and then
god.
it wins by 13.25.
I mean, Vishnu's a god, so that maybe that's why.
All right,
Fair
let's
enough.
bang out the last 2 because we got 4 minutes to post here. In the 10th race, I very quickly, I went with the entry. I think there's value on the entry in races like this. You know, you're getting 2 horses out of 7 in the field. You're spending very little to get them here. Gino, what'd you do in the 10th?
1 or 4, same thing. The 4, at least Pepperoni's shown some speed.
Yep.
So, and that's a lot more than most in this field. So
It's true, man. I'm not even going to talk because I wrote no play. I didn't even handicap the race. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Leo, what'd you take here?
I got List in here at 8,000, but I just got a notification that a horse of mine was scratched. I'm trying to figure out which one.
I still see Liston in, but that's fine. Brian, what'd you do?
I took the 5. Not really sure why. Coming off a layoff, maybe it'll wake it up.
Not really sure why.
we all got to bet this horse now. You know this horse is winning.
I mean, honestly, I don't love anything in here. It's a price, and it's coming off a layoff, and it's lost the least.
All right, let's go to the 11th. Obviously, Dave, we talked about Pictor. We talked about hashtag winning. Gino, let me get your take on this race. Obviously, we're using Pictor as part of this contest. I also like the 6. I know Dave does as well. What do you see?
Yeah, I had 1, 5, and 6 as possible horses. I think Pictor, you're using, and I thought on the cutback, fire down below. If somebody ends up going with Pictor, Schwarbertown or somebody, even Victory Chimes, like if they can make things difficult up front, maybe fire down below can really get a little more punch with the cutback, and we'll come running late.
I'd like it noted that it is 5:58, and we have covered all 11 races in the one stream that I have hosted, whereas with Bree, we'd be just getting into the 3rd right now.
Seriously, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, you're just showing her up.
That's how it's done, Brianna.
You better hurry up and get your bet in on the 2-horse in this first race.
What's going on here?
I'm seeing great value in the 6 here in the first on the drop. Gino didn't get a chance to cover the first with us.
Yeah, Gino, tell me what you think about this first race.
Actually, it's great because the first I didn't have a play.
Okay.
I didn't make a play in the first, so I steered clear in the first, and yeah, I think in the earlier races, let's see, in the 3rd race, that horses that I thought were interesting for the moment, who's 10-1. I think this one of those horses is going to get picked up. Yep.
Make it 5 for 5.
Exactly. So that's a great stable to horse because they're going to get bet down. You're only spending 1,000. You need to find short enough spots. In the 4th race, I did think, it's got to be my way. If you can use another horse in there, I would use Falcon's View from the inside, who I thought was also very live, but that's probably tough to do if you're spending and using both.
Gino, what did you think about Bess in there? Is Bess just going to be really tough to beat?
Yeah, Best is going to be tough, but again, I thought Falcon's View, who had kind of been bouncing around a little bit, was racing at Woodbine and Laurel, hadn't raced since July, now came here, kind of needed the race last time out. I wouldn't be shocked if that one runs better, and I thought Dave's horse on the outside is also going to run well too, but Best is the one to beat, no doubt about it, but I prefer, let's put it this way, I prefer like spending up on the Bush horse in the last than I would on Best in this race, if you're going to have to pick a race to spend up on. So, and then in the 5th, I joined from the 5th on, and that was where I had the 5. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We're all on that for the moment. I think that's just an awful, awful morning line.
Yeah.
Worst morning line of all time.
I mean, Gino, I had written down, I showed you guys, I just think the entire race, maybe the line got thrown off when they started with Senior Ricci at 5-2, but I think you could go across the board. I like the 4 Free Dancer, 6-1 on a horse dropping down in class, 2-back caught Pictor, and got beat 17, but caught Pictor. The race, the last race, Franz Warrior, is now entered an allowance race. I just think even a horse like that might just wire this bunch.
Missed the break and then had to rush up and then kept battling afterwards.
Yeah.
Looked like the horse was done and then kept trying really hard, very honest. Every opportunity to run well here. Yeah, I think that's a total go against the favorite race.
Let me just give for the people watching, because we've got are they in the gate yet?
Getting
Nah, they're
loading.
going in.
I played a dollar pick 4, very short.
Right,
I just went 2-6 all with 4-8, and then, no offense, Dave, but I singled Bess.
Yeah, I think I said it before. I think Bess is the horse to beat in there for sure.
So
I think if you wanted to know, at Penn of the 3, which is the one that I think I'm going to need some luck to go my way to beat, and to win, I think it's going to be the race.
Dave, does the sloppy track worry you about any of your 3 in particular?
I don't think so. If anything, it probably moves. It's got to be my way up, just given that turf form. Typically, turf horses tend to run better on a sloppy racetrack. I don't know. I mean, that's just always been my opinion. Gino and others, I guess they all. So that probably moves her up a little bit. She's run on the slop only one time in her life, and she ran 3rd. I'm not sure where it was. I don't see it on the chart that I'm looking at.
We are off at Penn. They're in the first turn. This is going to be really tricky to kind of call because the rain is making it difficult. But right now, it looks like you've got the 3 and the 5 up there in the lead. The 2 sitting a nice trip on the rail. The 6 to the outside.
It's getting pinched.
Rondon Scorese, who, by the way, Dave, you were talking about getting value on that 6 down to 8-5.
Yeah, I bet the horse at 4-1. They loaded him in the gate, and he was 6-5.
Yeah, so that's
and
That's
my
that
bet
late pin money. That's that Dave Bush money.
Let's just be clear. My bet did not move anything. I think he's going to be tough to beat, though. I think potentially it's a horse that.
He's getting a nice trip right now. These 2, the 3 and the 5, are going at it up at the top. 24 flat for the quarter, 48-3 for the half. The 5 now, Brown Eyed Boy, has taken a length lead. Rondon Scorese, the 6, is in second by 3/4 of a length. 3 drops back to 3rd. The 2 is off the racetrack.
I think the 6 has a little bit of hang in him, though, once in a while. So
let's hope not. The 1's making a move here, but the 1's going to be wide. The 6 drifted on that turn quite a bit. Gets back in. This is 2-6, right? Oh, this 2. Come on. You talked about a hanger. The 6, rather. Come on. Straighten out. Come on.
2 coming up the rail?
Dig. Come on, you rat.
Who are you trying to get up?
Oh, yeah. He wanted to lose.
There we go. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
Dave Bush, thank you for telling me to add that horse very late, because that's on my pick 4. So, again, my StableDuel lineup is off to an absolute shit start, as is always the case. But my dollar pick 4 alive because of you, Dave Bush. Thank you again.
Hey,
Good.
wait a minute. You had the 2 in StableDuel, right?
Yeah, where'd the 2 finish?
I think 3rd or 4th.
5th or 4th. Photo for 4th.
All right. Well, maybe you got the photo for 4th. I don't know. Either way.
Tiring rivals.
Yeah. I don't think you like the inside or the slop very much.
No. I think that's absolutely right. Did not like anything about that trip.
No.
Dave, you mentioned that the 6 has a little hang in him, and I thought that's what we were seeing again.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was a little race riding by the 5. It looked like they got pretty tight there down the lane.
Came out a little bit on him, yeah.
He definitely was wide. He was wide coming into the stretch. I mean, he was definitely wide out of the turn.
Yeah, I think just class alone. I mean, that horse just again, when they drop down like that, they're just oftentimes pretty tough to beat. Who did I take here? Did I?
I don't think the 2 got up for 4th. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay, look at that. In both of my stables, even the one with the bush, I spent on Rondon Skorsky here. So it's a good start for me. I got 2 stables in. Both of them have the 6 here.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice start for you, David.
I think I moved. I forget who I was on late. I know what it was. I think it was in that $16,000 race. Is that like race 9 or something where we talked about it? And I was buying All Tacked Up, the 6 in race 9. And I just kept looking at it. I'm like, which horse is a more likely winner? All Tacked Up or Rondon Skorsky? Because the price was the same, and I just went to Tim on the drop down.
Good call.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a nice one. And as I said, Dave, I appreciate it because it keeps my ticket alive. So
I'm a big daily double guy, and once you said you didn't pick 4, I tried to go in and play one, but I missed it. I just had a win bet in. But
I mean, to me,
double, no one liked anyone in the next race, so I didn't even play a double.
No, I alled the next race in my ticket. Like I have no idea.
I threw in the last 250 that I had, and I just used the 6 miss out deal, and I just played everybody else I liked from 3 through 11.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think this second race is going to be a really tough horse to differentiate anyone in. So from a betting perspective, this is, I mean, the prototypical all race to me. I mean, you don't have a ton of horses, you get 7 of them, and I mean, Gino, we talked about this before. Would it shock you if any one of these won this thing?
Absolutely not. Not one. I mean, because this is one of those all races where, like, there are 2 kinds of all races, right? There are all races where you think anyone can win, and then there are all races where you think anyone can lose. And this is that kind of an all race where anybody can lose, so I wouldn't want to necessarily be married to any short price in here.
No, definitely not. And the crazy thing is, you've got 2 horses that are 8-5 and 9-5, and it's like, was the guy who made the morning line at Penn drunk? Like, I mean, what's going on here?
I mean,
that's rough.
Through. I mean, like, so I started going down through and just putting X's. Like, what horse would you want in here? So, like,
eliminate it. Yeah.
I mean, the ones tried this same in these kinds of races. My kind of mind initially, I start going through and saying, right, who's not been here, right? So what horse hasn't been in this condition for a long time? The longer they're in it, the more I dislike them. I don't care if they're running second or third. If they can't win it, even if they're running second or third, it means they don't want to win it, right? So the 1's out, the 2's out, the 3, in my opinion, is out. I mean, how many times you got to try this? I mean, 6 of her last 7, second, third, second. Not my horse. And in fact, the horse is 3 for 46 lifetime. Am I going to spend, I don't know what the money is, $9,000 for 3 for 46 lifetime? Like, no thanks. I would have landed on either the 6 that you guys took. In fact, the horses that I wrote down were 4, 3, and I circled the 7 as some value. Gizmo's Destiny, maybe just stretching out. It's just doing something different. And it's only been at this level 1 time, not 6 or 7 times.
Yep. It's just, in these restricted claimers, like you said, it's the new faces, the horses who haven't been beaten over and over and over again at the same level, because they just get used to running second and third or fourth, just picking up slices there. So, yeah, I agree. I think you sniffed out the right horse. That's what I do in pretty much all my handicapping, just in a different way. You start eliminating horses, right? Okay, right off the bat. Okay, this horse, no, that, no. And then you're down to maybe 3 or 4 horses. You really kind of key in on them a little bit more. And that's how you're playing your pick 3s or your pick 4s a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Can I point out one quick thing that I'm looking for in this race? No?
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, go.
Always.
So on the 2 horse 4 back, look who won that race.
Oh yeah, cuckoo for Coco.
So, hey, if the 2 runs big here, do we fire big on that horse later?
No.
It's just something I look for. Just saying. You actually said you like that horse.
I know.
You just hate that I saw it before you did.
I'm just giving you a hard time. So we've got some time here until the next post. You guys want to talk some college basketball?
I got a question for everybody because we were talking about it last night. Gino, I don't know if you were involved. We have a side competition going on here. Who's going to be the first one to get a sponsorship?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, from the drinks?
Yeah. Celsius. Yeah. Hello.
Oh, it's going to be you from Celsius. They like your stuff. They're such a small company. Stella won't give me the time of day.
Celsius.
Yeah, and I'm not consistent enough with what I drink. I got something different every week.
I could pull off a wine one probably somewhere from like a vineyard or something if that counts.
I like it, man. I'm ready to go. I want to see who's going to get it. Dave, I know you were mentioning stuff too. Who's your horse in this race?
I got no shot.
With some wine. Yeah.
I'm going too big. We're shooting. We're going for the fence. Me and Biho there with Stella.
That's what we do.
That's how you got to do it, baby. That's how you got to do it.
I feel like Yingling is a more attainable sponsor than Stella. You're in Pennsylvania,
If I just start dressing up like Johnny Depp for all of our streams, You think
Hold
I
on.
can get Captain Morgan sponsorship?
Maybe.
Do you want to hear something really crazy?
Some
I'm about ready to,
eyeliner and stuff, you know?
I'm about ready to confess something on live stream right
We're
now.
gonna, all right, we're gonna give you the.
Uh-oh.
I'm glad we're all sitting.
Are you good?
Go ahead.
Yes.
So Johnny Depp, since he was mentioned, that's my wife's first cousin.
Wow.
Wait. What?
Look at that.
I don't tell a lot of people that.
That's funny. Look
Jeez.
at
So
that.
Wait, how? Explain the dynamic.
So my wife's maiden name is Depp. Her dad and his dad are brothers.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Have you met him?
No, I have not. But I've met his dad a ton of times. He lives down there. Well, he used to live down in Hollywood, Florida. You know, great family. We just don't talk about it much. I don't know why I'm talking about it now.
Your
In fact, I don't think any of my coworkers even know that.
Look at that. Wow.
Ain't that something?
Captain Jack Sparrow. Blow.
I'm
Great movie.
I don't know
Blow
what
is
to
my
say.
favorite movie of all time.
Blow is
him.
top 10 and maybe top 5 for me.
See, I can't
love
put
that
it that high. It's a great movie, but it just fucking makes me sad.
movie. No,
Yeah,
you're
no,
right.
you're
It's one
right.
that you don't
You're
want to rewatch. It's like
No, it's
for a
so
dream. You watch it
sad.
and you want to just like die.
Yeah, right, like that. Yeah, it's one of those
Again.
movies. It just leaves me profoundly sad.
Yeah. The scene with his dad with Ray Liotta when they're oh yeah, that's one of those.
That one, it's like his
Dude.
daughter. Like I'm always, it's like he's trying to like do the right thing with his daughter for a while, and then he's
Yeah.
like back. It's just I don't know. The movie just makes me sad.
It is.
It's a great movie though.
It is though. It's good. It's good stuff.
I've never seen it.
Okay, sorry. On
By
with the
the
next
way,
thing.
I gotta tell you, I watched a great documentary last night on Peacock. Which can I just say, I love Peacock. I think it's the best of the streaming services. The Russian
I was
Five.
on Hulu. Why is it better than Hulu? Quick.
Oh,
because I
dude, there's a
love it.
ton of shit on it. There's just
Why is
it's
it better than Hulu? The EPL is on the Peacock.
it's an enormous catalog, movies, shows, the whole thing. But
Just
I watched this,
different stuff. Yeah.
this documentary called The Russian Five about the Red Wings bringing Russian players over in the 90s and like how they smuggled Sergei Fedorov like out of a hotel and onto a plane. And like the State Department is calling their GM's house being like, what are you guys doing? You're going to cause a war. Like a wild documentary.
I watched 2 last night from Netflix that probably a lot of people have watched. The Last Blockbuster and
Me too. I watched that 2 days ago.
the college admission scandal, which is good. It's sort of like a documentary, but they have some real actors playing the roles of people. Like Matthew Modine is plays the role of the lead character, the guy, it's sort of cool. So definitely a couple things that are worth your watch on Netflix too. Good little documentaries there.
I haven't watched that one yet, but I admit that I don't know everything about that story. But I'll be honest with you, as a lawyer, I still don't understand how what the parents did is a crime. Like immoral, maybe, but I mean, if you're paying someone to try to get your kid into a private university through whatever means, I mean, I don't know what the criminal act is there.
Yeah,
I think part of it was they were falsifying what their kids were doing. Like kids were going on a rowing.
But let me ask you, Brian, if I falsify a document to a private business, I don't know that that's a crime.
I mean,
Unless they
you
want
are
to
the
press
attorney.
charges, right?
What's that?
Unless they want to press charges, right?
Well, no. The charges were ultimately, and Gino, you watched the documentary, so you can tell me here.
Yeah.
Wasn't it something like wire fraud or something? That's usually what the feds drop on everyone is like mail fraud, wire fraud.
Mail
It's like
fraud, wire
use the
fraud,
telephone
tax
in the
fraud.
mail.
Basically what ended up happening, like the people ended up getting mainly in trouble because when the colleges audited, they caught the guy and they audited a few of his stuff, and so they would call and they charged people with wire. Like one of the guys who got charged literally didn't even know what he was doing. He didn't do anything. He was just taking what he thought were donations to the athletic department, which a lot of people give.
Sure.
And the guy was, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to donate so that way I can like keep our window of communication open when I have people that I think that might fit, the crew or the rowing department. I'll bring them to you." And he didn't really do a whole lot. Like there's one guy that you really feel bad for because he just got caught up in like being at Harvard getting pressured to be a fundraiser. He's a coach, and he's like, I hate fundraising. I'm a coach, but you're at a college and you're forced to be a fundraiser. And so people are giving me money and I'm just taking it, because I have to. And then I find out 6 months later that this guy is caught up in all this dirty stuff, and that those are basically considered bribes now.
Yeah. The other thing I don't understand is if you're like Lori Loughlin and you've got money, like why aren't you just making like a $50,000 donation to the school? Like do it the way everyone else does it. Just make a donation.
Well, and another thing about the crime stuff too is like one thing I always looked at when I was dealing with it at a much lesser level than you is like, who's the victim here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
mean,
it's kind of a victimless crime.
Like, come on, guys. Like, don't we have better things to do?
Leo, let's change the subject a little bit, Leo, and jump into the Sweet 16 we've got going on this weekend.
I was going to ask you guys, how the hell do you have time to watch this stuff during March Madness? Do you guys just?
Well, I don't spend 8 hours a day watching European soccer, so that's how. So we've got.
I will not handle this slander
coming up this weekend, and we've had a shitload of upsets. So we've got some interesting matchups this week. Leo, a game that I've kind of got circled that I'm really curious about is this Oregon State Loyola game. When I saw Loyola -7, I almost jumped out of my skin. Like that is, is that not like a slam dunk bet on Oregon State plus the points?
I hate everything about this game. I've said it 1,000 times, especially at our live streams. I'm sure Sister Jean is a wonderful woman. I have had enough of her. And please get the hell out of my tournament. Okay, I cannot take any more. I can't take any more of the Sister Jeans. I walked into that Illinois game and said, "Get ready, baby." My boy Io Coburn or Cockburn. His name is Cockburn. I don't give a shit.
It really is. It's Cockburn.
It is Cockburn.
His name is 100% Cockburn. All right. I know we want to be nice and we got to keep it PG. No, you don't have to put a French twist on it. All right. It's Cockburn.
I saw someone on Twitter who said it was a great comment. Who's that kid? Ludwig for Loyola or whatever.
Oh,
the big
Krutwig.
Yeah.
Krutwig.
Someone said that his name should be penicillin because he neutralized Cockburn.
Well done. Well done.
Weeks ago, being Loyola and thinking like you're going to be what's it 7?
7.
You're going to be a 7-point favorite in a game to get to the Elite Eight. Like, could you imagine just thinking about that a few weeks ago? Like the way things were going to play out, you're going to obviously beat because everybody kind of moaned about Loyola's seed, but what's funny, they probably don't mind where they're seated now because they had to win their one tough game a little bit earlier. They beat Illinois, but they beat a Georgia Tech team, right? That was a little bit down and banged up. And then they have to play a team again where you're a 7-point favorite to get a chance to go to the Elite Eight. Like you really couldn't have asked for a better spot because I think they were a highly ranked team on KenPom and like a lot of metrics, but most years teams like Loyola who are highly rated in the metrics and stuff, but come out of a smaller division, they usually do get like a 6, 7, 8. They're not usually a top 4 seeded team. So they're in a great spot. But I know what you mean. Like from a betting standpoint, that's a lot of points. But could you just imagine being them going, we're a 7-point favorite to get to the Elite Eight right now?
I know, it's nuts. But I mean, when you look at how well Oregon State's played, like
they're shooting lights out.
I just can't.
You know who the real winner of this is? Jim Boeheim. That nuisance. That team had no business being in the damn tournament. Here we go. They win one game against the shit San Diego State team. Then they come out. West Virginia pisses themselves. All right. And now here you go. You got one tough game. You got Houston, who isn't all that good outside of Grimes. And now, after that, assuming that you can get through that, here you go. You got Loyola or Oregon State to go to the Final Four. And here we go with the Jim Boeheim legacy talk and all that nonsense when this team had no business being in the tournament.
I mean, you can say that, and I don't know that you're necessarily wrong based on the regular season performance. But, I mean, goddamn, that zone plays in the tournament.
No. Stop.
What do you mean stop?
Zone is for cowards. Cowards play the zone.
It doesn't. All for you.
What do you mean it doesn't?
No.
Against good teams, they'll beat it. But it will hit in the first and second round, like Syracuse always does. When there are like mediocre teams that aren't that well coached or that aren't used to it, they sort of like freeze. And
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's for cowards.
Yeah, it's not going to win you the whole thing. It's going to win you.
Gets the benefit of the draw every freaking tournament. Every year it feels like we talk about them and we're like, oh, I don't know. Syracuse was on the bubble. Magically they get in. Magically they get a good draw. And next thing you know, here we go. We're in the Sweet 16. Oh, the zone. Told you guys about the zone. No, BC cracked the zone. BC sucks at everything.
It's kind
all right, Leo. So let me ask you about another matchup here that I'm intrigued by, and it's Alabama and UCLA. Alabama's laying 5. The Bruins are a team you've been high on in this tournament.
Bam.
Obviously, they clinched our matchup for you by beating BYU. What do you think about the Bruins +5 here against Alabama?
I hate everything about this game. I think Alabama.
Are there any games you don't hate?
Yeah, Gonzaga.
No, okay, real bold.
Gonzaga Creighton, that game, I'm looking at, that could be a 13-point spread. That game might be decided by 30 to 40 points. Creighton is not very good. Gonzaga is the greatest team ever assembled. I've been saying it all year. I think Gonzaga is going to dismantle them by 30.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far to say they're the greatest team ever assembled.
Are you guys joking? Have you guys looked at this roster?
The Celsius must be spiked over there.
No, man, this team is legit. This is one of the best teams ever assembled.
They're not better than 2015 Kentucky.
Yes, they are.
Oh, get out of here. You're out of your mind.
If we're
out of your mind.
College team, there's no questions asked. Gonzaga is one of the greatest teams ever assembled. This team can do everything. They can play in the half court. They can play up and down. They play great defense. They have 3-point shooting.
I'm not gonna argue with anything you're saying because you're not wrong. But Brian just mentioned the 2015 Kentucky team. That team
beat Gonzaga by 20.
Hold on. That team had the same feeling to them. Did they not? I mean, they had the exact same feel. So until you go and finish this, and if they do, then we can absolutely have that conversation. But until they finish this, you can't say that yet.
I think that 1 through 3 from Gonzaga this year, you can really compare with any 1 through 3. They literally do have 3 National Player of the Year contenders. I think where the Kentucky team might be a little better was they're 4 through 8 or 9.
Everywhere.
They've got guys on the bench that were that are legitimate NBA players and stars. So that's where I think they may be a little different. But what makes Gonzaga look so good this year too is since it's a COVID year and we've got they seem like they might be that much better than everyone else. I don't know if that makes them as good as the best teams of all time, but the difference between them and the rest of the field might be as much as it's ever been. So that may be a way of putting it.
That Kentucky team had way more NBA talent.
Yeah.
But if we're talking college basketball teams, Gonzaga, there is no comparing. There's no comparing, B-Ho. Gonzaga is one of the greatest college teams ever assembled. They don't have the NBA talent.
I agree with you when you say one of. When you
They're
say
better
they
than
are
the Kentucky team.
The best team ever assembled. I can't go there just yet.
And they gotta win it still.
Exactly.
We're projecting them, and they've got a great setup. And everybody said that from the beginning. Their bracket, all of the major contenders in there, they've already beat. And so right now they win one game, and they're going to be playing against either a 6 or a 7 seeded Pac-12 team that, on paper, they're much better than. Even a USC would probably be a closer line if they played, because USC is, I think, a slight favorite in this Oregon matchup.
1 point,
it's close. So, but what do you think that game would be? Still double digits, probably.
Yeah. USC?
Right? 10, 11.
Yeah, I think at least 10.
Closer to 10 or 11, because USC will get that there.
Let me ask one more thing. So since this is a COVID year and the season's shortened, do we celebrate an undefeated Gonzaga national champion we do?
Undefeated.
What? I'm sorry, I have to rant. What is this nonsense with people talking about? Oh, it's a COVID year. Gonzaga had.
Well, I don't know. Kentucky went 38-1.
Dude,
Leo?
Gonzaga loaded up in the non-conference.
If you run the table, you run the table. Plain and simple. I don't. That was like the conversation in horse racing last year. If Tiz the Law wins the Triple Crown, is it still a Triple Crown? Yes. If you win the 3 races, you win the 3 races. If you run the table in college basketball, you run the table.
If everyone's playing in the same playing field and you win, you're the champ. Right? it's only when there's like some team or somebody that really got screwed where you can maybe put an asterisk on the sport. But when everyone's dealing with the same,
Now, for example, I will say this. Let's just say if Gonzaga had like a COVID issue and got bounced out of this tournament, then there's a fucking asterisk on it. Like
100%.
Yes.
100%. Absolutely. Or if any of the big teams, even if Baylor, because I think right now you look at Gonzaga and you kind of look at Baylor and you probably think like they're the two best, most likeliest teams to get there to play against each other. So like if Baylor were to get bounced out right now, then we might say, okay, look at what Gonzaga, they were in a tournament where they didn't have to play any other 1 seeds. They didn't have to play any other the other better teams. So, but if they win all the way through and everyone's still in, they're awesome. And they're like a top 5 all-time college team. I'd agree.
God. Outside of Baylor, is there a team that Gonzaga won't be double-digit favorite against?
I'll tell you the one team that worries me a little bit for them. Yeah, it's not Alabama for me. The team that I think could give them a hard time could be Arkansas. And I still think they're big favorites, and I still think they probably win. But Arkansas plays very fast, and they're big and physical. I don't know. I feel like Arkansas could make life difficult for them.
So they play Oral Roberts.
Yeah.
Coming up, right? Who have been just awesome. Like only the second number 15 seed ever to make it this far, to win multiple games. And the cool thing about Oral Roberts, who will play, what's that line's like 12?
11 and a half, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So same kind of thing. Could you imagine being Arkansas and being like, wow, we're going to be a 13-point favorite to try to get to the Elite Eight? We couldn't ask to be in a better spot,
No.
Everyone talks about Osmus, but it's the other guy, the big man who can hit the free throws and stuff too. He's the reason why they're so good. Because,
Banner.
Banner. Because
that kid is absolutely
like on Osmus. When you got 2 quality guys like that at a small school, really in college, when you got 2 guys that are that good, I mean, he hits all the big free throws. He gives them like such a different option.
That kid is going to have a very long NBA career as a 3-and-D player. He's like Trevor Ariza to me. Like he's going to play for a long time and just be that niche guy that like can do those things.
He kind of reminds me of remember Kyle O'Quinn? He kind of played for the Knicks for a while.
Yeah.
And nobody heard his name before he played with Norfolk State, and then they won a game.
You're right.
Similar type of player. Fun story about him and his free throws, though. I was all over the first half money line. It was 34-34. O'Banner got fouled on a 3 with about, I think it was like 50 seconds left, something like that. And I was like, oh, there we go, baby. I got an 88% free throw shooter stepping up the line. Guarantee he hits 2 out of 3, and I can't lose. 1 for 3. Florida goes down, buries a 3, turnover, buries another 3. Forget about my first half money line. There goes my 4.5 too.
Yeah,
we are. We're loading into the gate at Penn National here for the second. Does anyone have a horse in this race? Leo, I think you do.
Yeah, I got someone here. I got to load it up real quick.
I got
judgment free, baby.
I played a couple of doubles just because the probables were pretty good with the 4 in the next race.
Yeah.
So I just went 4, 6, 7 in here. So I'm kind of throwing the 5 out.
I would very much like.
You got all right.
I have all here in the pick 4.
Let's just pull for the long shot.
I would very much like this. The 6 would be fantastic.
And he didn't get out of the lead. I was expecting to be on the lead. At least I had the 7. I wanted a horse that was going to be forwardly placed in here.
Well, the 6 better go.
Hey, Dave, when you say you got 4, 6, 7, does that mean it's got to come in that exact order? Or
No, he's
order?
got any of them.
Any of those
3 of them.
Oh,
this
how the hell do I make those
tightly bushed group?
So I just picked those
We'll
3.
teach you next week, Leo.
Platinum Affairs got a 3/4 length lead over
Leo,
Judgment
you'll
Free.
be daily doubles, pick 3s, pick 4s. You can play a lot of different wagers where you just have to have one of the winners in each of the races going forward. But for every race that you add, it costs you extra money. So you can't just go, use everybody in every race. It'll be too much. It won't make sense. But
Yep.
Right now, the 24-3 for the quarter. You've got
Who's
Platinum
riding the
Affair.
2? Who's this rider, Dave, riding this 2? That's the worst form I've ever seen.
She's bad. It's actually it's Jackie Davis. It's Katie Davis's sister and Dylan Davis's sister.
Well, she might not have
a little better
Brian,
there.
but she's got a
Robbie Davis's
3-length
daughter.
lead opening up now. This horse is opening, heading into the turn with a nice little lead here.
Well, did you notice she sat down?
You just got to find the speed in these kind of races. Like, I truly believe that. And I mean, the 4's coming on her, so I mean, she's all out right now. She's gonna have to hold on. I think the 4 is gonna roll by her, but
let's hope not. Come on, Jackie.
Come
on, play some defense. Play some defense.
Who's that coming for?
Come on, play some defense, Jackie. That a girl, drift out. Come on, defense.
Oh, look, I'll give her credit. She's going left hand, trying to play a little gamesmanship here.
That's all she got.
Let your horse see it. Hang on.
She did try. You're right.
Yeah.
4 got home 2-1. Not what I was hoping for.
Hey, I'll give her credit there. I gave her shit for her form down the backstretch, but that's good race riding there. Left-handed stick, try to let the horse see the other one, hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 4 was the horse in here that if you were going to take out, that's why, again, I just can't understand the line in this race either. I mean, the 4, to me, I think we talked about this, is the one doing something different, right? Mm-hmm. And in these kind of races, that's the first thing that I look for. I start going down through and marking off who's doing something different. The 4, if you had to say, take a win bet, who would it be? You have to pick someone. It would have been a no-brainer for me. Take the 4. Everyone else is doing the same thing over and over again.
Second time at the level, they're stretching out. Like a lot of people like the first. I usually give horses 2 shots when they're doing something for like the first time. I'll give them 1 more shot. Second time going long. Second time at the level when they drop down. Because a lot of times that first time down, like you're really expecting it, and they'll be overbet. And then if they run poorly, the second time they'll kind of float up a little bit more, and they'll be a little more overvalued than they should in a lot of cases too. So I like to give horses multiple cases. Sometimes I agree with you. The 4 was bet here, but in a StableDuel situation, you back the horse at 4-1, not 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hey, Dave, how old is Dana Whitney?
He's older. He's been around for a while. In fact, he's got
like I can remember watching him ride River Downs as a kid.
Yeah, he was really good at was it like Mountaineer or one of the West Virginia tracks before he came to Penn. He got a hip replacement like about a year ago. So
wow, that's tough riding after that.
He's like, who got the hip replacement? Was it Jerry Bailey or one of the guys out in California?
Was it Gary?
Gary
Stevens, right? And then he came back to riding. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine.
He was done for like 5 years, and then he came back, and then he got hurt. He got the hip replacement, and he still came back again and was good. He won with Oxbow and the Preakness, and I think he was on Beholder for some of those races, I think too. Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy to have an
Blew the Derby on Point Given. I mean,
what's the average age for a jockey?
It's a tough one to answer.
In their prime,
I guess they'll start at 18 or 19, and literally be all the way till like 50s, early 50s. It's really all about your body type. Can you stay small and keep low weight? That's really what it comes down to. If a lot of younger kids are very good when they're sort of like, because guys will sort of develop a little bit later too. So they'll be good at like 18, 19, 20, 21, but then they get a growth spurt. And all of a sudden they're like 5'6" or 5'7", and they're just too big.
The O'Brien kids.
Yeah, it happens a lot in racing too, because you'll be really good and small when you're younger, but just if there's nothing you can do if your body just won't allow it. Like if you outweigh everybody else by 20 pounds, you just don't have
5'6", 5'7" is way too big.
That's about pushing it.
I think the toughest thing with 5'6", 5'7" is just the weight, right? If you're that tall, like you physically, like you have to be probably 120, 130 pounds.
Because you got to be strong.
Yeah.
You can't be like a string bean. You have to have some like a little bit of like Gert, like
not a little bit, a lot.
Yeah, you got to be able to grab a hold and like have these like horses respond to you. So, like my dad, for example, when he was a wrestler. When he was a freshman in high school, he weighed 68 pounds, but he wasn't really skinny. He was just short as hell. And so he wrestled, and he could wrestle against guys that were bigger than him because he was like still not like a total stick, But
you asked about the age, and Gino, you said into the 50s. Unless you're this guy, Perry Utes, and you're still racing.
Perry Utes, I'm glad you brought him up. He should be in the Hall of Fame. It's an absolute joke. He's not.
I got a message. I got a
67.
message about him earlier today that said, I come from watching Perry Utes at River Downs. He wrecked his car, could barely walk, showed up and rode 3 winners in the late pick 4.
No.
A message I got today.
No. That's not true. It wasn't a car. Motorcycle.
Okay.
He wrecked his motorcycle.
Jesus.
He won the early double that day.
Imagine
By the way,
getting on a racehorse at 67 years old.
just for the record, our 10-1 morning line shot opened at 5-2.
Yeah, I was gonna say to Dave that Dave, you love the 4 and the 8 here. Those two are easily the lowest prices on the doubles here.
Yeah, I see. What is it? You've got a $15 double with the 4, so that price isn't going to hold up. 5-1's not going to hold on the 4. I mean, right now he's just not getting much. There's probably no money in the pools, honestly. There's like the win pool is $1,400 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the 4 and the 8 are going to go off the 2 favorites in here, which is good for StableDuel, but unfortunate for the wager that I wanted to place in the 4.
Well, because it's one of those things where I think if For the Moment would have just been like 5-1.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't have drawn this kind of attention.
Right, everybody would just go, oh, okay, and so it's weird, if the horse is 5-1 instead of 10, they don't open up at 5-2 because everybody sees the 10-1 and goes, oh, a 10-1 shot I got to use. I'm going to bet a few bucks to win.
No, that's a perfect point too, and I hate to give these odds makers grief because it's a tough
crappy job.
It's not fun. But like this is one I took around the office today, and I'm like, guys, somebody
Your
else
favorite
look at
at the
this.
level
I can't be
last time
that
out.
nuts.
Yeah.
And favorite at the level ran very decent.
Really well.
Beat a horse. I mean, the one horse came out of the same race. The one horse finished behind that horse, and it's 9-2. That line made no sense, and I'm like, what am I missing here? Nobody could point anything out, and we got 5 guys on it here.
Yeah,
so.
I think you have to look at it. I guess like the goal of the morning line odds maker, right, is to just try to predict how the public's gonna bet the race, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. It's not to particularly indicate
Right, you're
who's
correct.
going to win the race, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the one, like if I'm the morning line odds maker, I know that public's going to hammer Kreiser in this particular spot because he's a leading trainer there, and people just love betting on him. Typically, he's teamed up with Edwin Gonzalez, who's now gone down to Florida. But so that's probably why he's adding blinkers. That's probably why they put that horse. And it was kind of a blanket finish, right? So he was 4th beat a length. He was closing late, made up 5 lengths down the stretch. That's the only guess. And if I look at the 8, it leaves Bernie Houghton's barn, which Bernie's one of the better trainers at Penn, has a lot of young horses, does really well in kind of the Mid-Atlantic circuit. It leaves his barn, goes to Rob Johnson, who's 1 for 32 this year. I don't personally know Rob, so I can't say anything about his training regimen or program or anything. He was 19% last year, but he's having a tough start to the year. Ran a good race. Maybe people just don't believe the race that it ran last time. It's tough to say. But it's weird. I still can't understand Signor Ricci. Like, can someone explain to me how you make that 5-2?
No,
and
Dave,
is the weirdest one for me.
And Dave, to be fair, the betting public agrees with you. This horse is
with
now
all of us.
11-1, and on the pick 3 will pays, this horse is the 4th choice on the
The
board.
daily double, he's more than double the price of For the Moment.
Yep, that's right. That's right. He's almost triple it on the pick 3s. So I mean, it's the public agrees with you.
Yeah, and see, I really do think it was one of those situations where if this horse just would have been like 5-1 or 6-1, there wouldn't have been all this extra money on him. So if he was like 5-1 and the 9 was like 5-1, right? If they were closer to even odds, I think the wagering would have evened out a lot more. But so many people, I think, do just what Dave was doing, and we're like, the 9 at 5-2, let's play against, right? Like at a short price, and that's the problem. Sometimes when people can sniff that out, you get a race like this where we're all pumped for the 8 and 10 line, right? Yeah.
Meanwhile, but hold on. If Signor Ricci goes off at 10 or 11-1, does he become a play again?
Maybe.
Yeah, like he's at 5-2, no. But if he's 6-1 or over, maybe you bet a few bucks on him to win.
I mean, I honestly just don't like the horse. If he was in for 5,000 I could see taking him. But if you throw out the last race, where I get it says horrible trip, clear late. I didn't watch the replay, but if you look at the start 2 back from that, I mean, he ran 3rd by 4 at the same level. He was 6-1. 6-1 against 5,000 3 lifers. Now he's moving up to 4 lifers and to 10,000, and you're going to peg him the 5-2 favorite. I just think it was a really, really bad line. I don't know where it came from, but and it looks like he gets in trouble. I mean, horrible trip, steady, so there are some excuses there. But
who makes the lines out there?
I'm not sure who does the line. It's a good question.
I mean, typically it's a track announcer, I feel like. But
I think it probably is at Penn. That would be my guess, but I don't know.
A lot of the smaller tracks, honestly, what they end up doing is they just like to have somebody do multiple jobs, which they're like, oh, we'll just stack this on someone else, and make it like their responsibility too. Yeah.
Speaking of track announcers, what about Sam Houston?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up, Dave. Parks has a new track announcer, Chris Griffin. Big fan of him. Sweetheart of a man.
Is he good? I don't know the guy, but he's a good social media.
Pour one out for Chris. Pour one out for Chris.
You absolutely should. Chris is a sweetheart of a man. I've met him a bunch of times down there at Sam Houston. He's a very good race caller. I think that Chris is going to do really, really well on the East Coast. I'm happy for him. Happy for Parks. Chris deserves it.
Yeah, so I don't know him at all, but his calls are great.
Are they? I haven't watched a ton of Sam Houston. I think the advantage to him, right, is he's got a year-round racetrack that runs 3-4 days a week. Parks is a nice track in the Mid-Atlantic. I mean, typically their purses are unbelievable. You want to talk about best tracks to have claiming horses at. New York is fine, but the expenses are just through the roof. At Parks, the expenses are somewhat manageable, and the purse money was unbelievable prior to COVID.
While we're talking about race callers, I'm interested. This is always a topic.
Well, he's on TVG right now. If you want to turn it up,
we can't do that because we don't have the rights to that. So, way to be a dick. But let me ask you guys: who is your favorite and least favorite race caller? Because I have strong opinions on both. Gino, I'll start with you.
Funny. Major shout out to Chris, and just to piggyback on that point, he's going to hopefully, fingers crossed, get a lot of good opportunities being out on the East Coast. Maybe he can fill in days at some of the bigger tracks, and they can see that he does a really great job. I actually really like Frank Miramonte. I think if you turn a lot of times I listen to I'll be driving somewhere, and I got my phone hooked up and I got the race coming on the radio while I'm driving. If you're not watching a race, I think Frank does as well as anybody as setting up what's happening if you can't see it. He would be like a great radio play-by-play announcer for a horse race because he tells you can't even be watching the race to know what's coming because of Frank. I think he does a really good job there. He is my personal favorite. I'll think about who I don't like, but I've been a fan of Frank from early on. I know him personally too, so I know how he's very, very particular about his vocabulary. He takes it personally about the words he uses and the phrases he uses and stuff. So I love the fact that he is. I know how much he puts into it, and then I think when I close my eyes and watch a race, he does a really good job of letting me know what's happening. All
right, Gino, I'm not going to let you off the hook about the least favorite, so think about it for a minute. Dave, favorite and least favorite?
Yeah, so I'm just going to say I don't have someone in particular that I love. The ones that I love, I will say, are the ones now that I would consider to be hybrid race callers. They're multidimensional, right? So it's not just about being a race caller anymore, in my opinion. It's about being a social media presence, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the one big thing that I think a lot of the older race callers are missing. And I'm not going to say, whether it's age or whatever, I don't know. But you take someone like the example I have, I'm going to use Penn for an example is, John Bogart's been there probably 30 years. He's probably been there maybe more than 40 years, probably longer than I've been alive, right? The challenge is, I don't even know if the guy has a cell phone, if he knows what Twitter is or anything. I think you're missing out on a huge opportunity, in my opinion, as a race caller, to be a face of the racetrack. You look at Paul Espinoza down at Charlestown. I think he's done a nice job with the stuff he's done. When Jason Beam's filled in I'm talking about some of the ones in the Mid-Atlantic, but Jason Beam, he's filled in at Colonial. Love what he does. You need to be multidimensional now, in my opinion. If you don't have that, you're just not. There's not much of a future for you as a race caller because the job has changed a lot with social media.
Brian, what do you got?
You're going to get me in trouble here.
Come on.
That's kind of the goal, Brian.
Well,
Listen, it's
I'm
not
gonna be
a personal attack. We have our favorites. We have people we
Yeah,
like and people that don't do it for us.
So I'm going to be a little bit homerish here, and I love Kurt Becker. He's very plain, very simple. He there's not a ton of just frills and catchphrases. He just calls the race as it is, paints a picture, and at the end, he always acknowledges the rider riding.
Okay.
It's so and so with Javi Castellano up.
Top of the short stretch.
Yeah, I mean, and at Keeneland, Leo, you're going to find out there's 2 finish lines at Keeneland, buddy. There's not just one. So sometimes they finish up here, and sometimes they finish back here. So,
Brian, least favorite.
Tampa Bay Downs.
Ooh, that's a good one, Grunder. Oh, I'm not a fan there either.
Not only, and I'll tell you
not
this,
a fan of Richard
this
Grunder.
is not a personal shot. There's just not a ton I love about it, but
I'm with you.
he calls out riders that don't even make mistakes as mistakes. Like he called. Who was it the other day? He called out for looking back on a horse, and it didn't make any difference. The horse got run by 8 lengths, and he's calling it out like, "Oh, what's he looking back for here?"
I think it's sort of like someone who is just like in any sport who maybe just a little past their time.
He's the grandpa.
Yeah.
When they were firing fastballs, I agree. I would probably put and it's. I watch the races and I don't ever even it's never a hate.
No.
It's actually more of I
no.
kind of laugh a little bit along with it when I because I know it's everybody still loves him and he's done a great job throughout these years. Like Barry, exactly what Barry's saying.
Barry's right.
Barry's right.
I had to say, Grunder's like an acquired taste, right?
He is. He is.
It's like a whiskey you love, or
I have not acquired it.
or like a nice cigar. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Brian. That is one of on the top of my list. My favorite. I love Pete Aiello. I think Pete Aiello is great at Gulfstream. I love him. It's a pleasure to listen to him call races. He's got excitement, but at the right times.
Former River Downs announcer.
I'm a big fan of Pete Aiello. My least favorite is very obvious. It's John Embriel. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. I think John Embriel is afraid to call a photo. If they're within a half a length, he's calling it a photo.
You're not
call
wrong.
it. Just call it.
We got to mention all-time great. He's sort of another one who's been a little older late, but like Trevor, you always got to mention Trevor.
There's a lot. Listen, there's
far. I actually like Michael Rona a lot.
How about Matt Dinnerman?
Matt's great out of Golden Gate.
Great announcer, just like what Dave was saying, excellent online. Matt is probably the nicest person you will ever meet. I don't think Matt says a bad word about anyone, anything at all. He is a great, great dude. So, young, up and coming, he handicaps the races. He'll do social media stuff. He's worth a mention for sure.
Yeah. Blackjack, have you ever been to Kentucky Downs?
No, I haven't.
So has anybody been there? Gino?
No, I never been.
No. Okay, so Michael Rona calls the races there. Yep. And if you're not there to see how that track is and where his booth is, dude, it's the hardest track in the world. You're uphill, you're downhill. There's they literally call it the Daytona turn because it's angled. It's an absurd race course. Causes me to throw a lot of races out when I handicap, but Michael Ronan nails it every time there, and I got to give him a little credit for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, man. Like I said, there's far more good ones than ones that you'll find an issue with. And off the top of my head, the only 2 that I could have an issue with are Embrial and Grunder.
Well, it's kind of like kind of like a referee sort of thing. It's like when you don't notice them, they're doing a good job.
Yes, right? That's exactly right. That's a great way to put it.
When you don't realize they made a mistake, it's like you'll go through 4 or 5 races on the day and you'll kind of not even realize it's like, oh wow, they did a smooth job of telling me everything that was going to happen. That's
talking about Chris Griffin. That's one thing I'll say about him. He's incredibly smooth. Chris is great.
This guy was calling the Globetrotters.
He was. I didn't even realize that. That's crazy. That's great. And again, I keep going back to it, but I really think now a good rate, I'm in tune with social media. I know everyone obviously that's on this this live stream is, but I want to see the behind the scenes glimpse, right? I want the shot from the booth that night of you telling me what are the scratches. I want to see what it looks like, right? There's
He's
no
going to
reason why
change
you
parts.
can't. Yeah, like I want to feel like I'm there with you, right? Like
He will, because he'll get more people involved. He does a good job of that. He's done that he called me up when he was calling the races at Pleasanton and a few years ago at Sam Houston and was just like, hey, we want to make sure we get more social. He knows what he's doing there. Like it's going to be really good for Parks to get him in there because
I agree. And Keith was good, but Keith was like one of those old school callers, right? When Keith started, we didn't even have a cell phone. And that's the truth, right? He was there 30 years. So, I just feel like a lot of it's changed. And I think now you might say half the job is calling races. The other half is being the face and promoting, the racetrack.
I agree.
On social media. And I just think you have to be good at both.
And Chris does such a good job at that, Dave, because I don't know if you guys remember, but Sam Houston has had some really unfortunate issues.
Unlucky.
Right? Like the last day of their last meet,
with the lighting.
The lights go out, and then this year they were They were giving away. Oh, they had the carryover in the pick 5, and then the rainstorm hits and they wind up, pulling races off the turf. And people got, outraged because they're wondering what the hell's going on. And Chris was the guy on social media explaining why this is happening and why the track has to do this under Texas law. And
which goes a long way.
It's so beneficial to just understand what's happening and why.
Yeah, and that's what people want.
Yep. He would send me a text and say, hey, this is what happened. Because I've worked with Sam Houston the last couple of years with my podcast, and I've covered their races a lot and helped to promote them because it's really easy for me. They're low takeout. I'm betting all those races.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about them all the time, And he would. I've honestly not worked with anyone as honest and just forthright as him. Like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we did. Here's what just let everybody know this. Whatever you like. He just cares. I'm really excited for him. This is a great opportunity.
And I think that's what's key. Transparency now is really, really important, right?
Everyone's going to mess up.
Yeah, you need to be communicating with them. I know, Gino, you and I talked about the issue with Penn and the thing that they had, months ago or whatever. And I even wrote that to the management of Penn. I know some of them. And I wrote.
I said the thing with their PMs. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, look, guys, this is something you should address. Just don't let it go away. Just come out and address it. Say we messed up. We made a mistake. Everyone does, right? But just address it and say how you're going to correct whatever you might do. Just sitting back and hoping it goes away is not the approach I think in this day and age you should take. Yeah, it's the same thing when you've got, steward inquiries and changes and things. In my opinion, that's a great job for the track announcer. You sit around. At Saratoga, I went up and did the Saratoga on the rooftop with Larry
Coleman.
Who?
Larry Coleman?
No. Who was the old caller at Saratoga for Naira? Not Coleman. Larry.
Years back, you're talking.
No, just before Trevor, or just before
Larry. It was Larry Coleman.
Coleman. I thought you said Coleman. Sorry, yeah, Coleman. Yeah,
Kentucky accent. Sorry, man.
But they've got 20 minutes between. I think it's a great opportunity for you to jump on social media quickly. I know they're reviewing their races and that kind of stuff. And Larry took us through what he does. And it's an art, right? It's very difficult to do. I could never do it. You got to be really sharp with your memory and be able to think fast. But he took us through that, but there's no reason why you couldn't explain if something happened in that last race, why a horse was taken down or not, why you couldn't drop out, a quick tweet or a message out to everyone to say, this is why or why we did not take that particular horse down. That to me is important. And I think the racetracks that are going to win going forward are the ones that get that. And honestly, I think I don't watch a lot of Sam Houston, but what I do follow with them and what I do really like, and I don't know if this is Chris or it's other people there too, but they seem to be a track that's caught on to the social media, bug. Understanding that in order to be important and relevant, we need to get this younger audience in. It's one of the real challenges with the Penn, and I've continued to say this to these guys. Look, you need to establish a presence on social media. If you don't, then you're just going to kind of eventually be like everyone else that we all talk about and never watch and never bet on, right? You need to be there, and I think again, the future of any race caller, analyst, whatever, is a significant presence on social media more than just calling the races.
Well, social media brings in the young
guy
fans.
Asked 6 times for fixing this race, even though I've responded in that.
We all like the 8.
Likes the 4. It's the 4 and the 8.
Love the 4. In fact, I'm going to put a win wager on the 4 if they're loading the gate at 3-1 because
we all were on the 8. We knew we were going to get bet down a little bit. Yeah.
Quite literally
helping better
answered 6 times.
I know. Literally.
He
6 times.
did. I was watching it on the side, and I'm like, "Hey, Blackjack, you gonna hit this guy up?" And answer.
And this person
But
says,
is that? By the
this
way,
person
is
says
that?
we dissed Bree earlier, and now we've spiraled off the track. We spent the last 20 minutes talking about race callers. That's on the track.
First off, hold
Yeah,
on,
we
man,
already
now.
went through this entire race. How many times do you want to do it? We love the 4 and the 8. What more do you want us to do?
Yeah.
When was Bree Mott dissed?
Listen, I didn't diss her. All I said was we covered 11 races before the start of the first.
Okay.
We keep it moving. And secondly, never mind. I'm gonna pass on that one. I changed my mind.
Now I really want to know what the second one was.
We'll talk off air. We'll talk off air on that one.
Yeah.
You got another first cousin we got to worry about?
No, man, no.
I can't believe that. I still can't.
I shouldn't have said that.
That you blew my mind. I can't believe
Bree
that.
doesn't. I don't even know that Bree knows that.
I mean, she's gonna know as soon as this is over.
Yeah.
Why? You gonna tell her?
Of course, I'm gonna tell her.
Why would you tell her that?
You just said it on the internet,
You just said
Brian.
it live, bro.
There's like 8
Sponsorship
people
opportunity.
watching, right?
What do you mean there's not a lot of people watching, man? Come on.
I said 8. No, I know there's a
All right,
lot.
we're off in the 3rd at Penn. This rain looks like it's picking up here. It looks like it's
I
getting.
think
Yeah,
the
it does.
fog is bad. And there's
Yeah.
my 4.
Hold on, man. They hadn't even broke here
I'm
yet.
glad you can see, Dave, because I can't see.
Take him gate to wire, baby.
Where's number 8?
The 4
Everybody
is
calm down here. I'm delayed.
the 4 is
See
in
that? The
front,
4 gets bet down to 2-1. He was
Yeah,
4-1
and-
going in the gate, and I went and bet him.
and Free Dancer is alone on the lead.
I think he's going to roll here,
21.
guys. There's 21-2 for the opening quarter.
Yep, and
Bye.
it's just
No
all
chance.
off here. This is.
He just bottomed him out. I mean,
Yeah, this might be
I mean, unless this horse just stops, this race looks over.
Well, first
Brian,
off,
How much-
spoiler
Hey,
alert.
moving
you guys
inside.
Number
see
8's nowhere near it.
the 8's coming on the rail.
The
Look at
8
it.
is
yeah, I was
moving
like,
Is
if
that a
the
number
10,000 claimers doing 21 and change, good luck.
wide turn there again. That's
Here comes the 8 up the rail.
Oh, there it is. Go,
Yeah,
let
this-
it go.
It doesn't. This 4 is home free.
It's just
That's
too
nice.
much separation.
No way. Watch it spit the bit. Hold on a sec.
Home free, Brian. But the
I mean,
8
you're
is
on a
going
wet
to
racetrack.
for all
It's
of us
tough
who
to make up
use
ground on a
Just
sloppy
hold on for a
racetrack
second.
like
Daddy
that.
needs points.
for all of us who use the 8.
Oh, God damn it.
All
I
right,
know.
so that wasn't quite
We
as
all
good.
needed those seconds.
You mush. You had to say he's going to come in second.
We
No, you
have
bushed him.
we
I
have
had both those horses this race for me.
Oh, my God, Blackjack.
don't worry about it.
Jake, you know what? If this is all your fault, I'm starting to notice a trend with you because this same thing happened the other night when it was me and you on the stream. You started talking about Texas. Next thing you know, we both needed Texas, and here we go. We got Abilene Christian pulling an upset.
I mean, listen, I never was comfortable with Texas in that game.
Yeah.
Dude, I went back and
So
rewatched
I saw a
it. Yeah,
stat.
It was excellent.
That was the first team in the history of the tournament that won a game when they shot less than 30% from the field and 20% from 3.
Unbelievable.
Before that-
And they were down by how many in the second half?
Before that, teams were 0-40 in the NCAA tournament when they've shot that bad. Can you imagine shooting that
Unbelievable.
bad against a team that's got way better athletes than you? And
Did you see the shots that they were hitting? Dude, they weren't even looking at the hoop half of the time.
Yeah.
They were literally like this.
We have 2 minutes left. This is a question from our guy who kept asking for picks, but this is actually, I think, an interesting question. He asked if we're into Irish or English racing. I'm going to phrase it a little differently. What is your favorite country to bet outside of North America? Dave.
Greece, duh. Hello.
Racing.
Greece and everything, man.
Dave, what do you got outside of North America?
I'm normally like Australia, A, B, and C, but I'm using it on my phone with like one eye open. So it's that time of night when I'm doing that.
I was going to say, you had a few.
I've said this a number of times. There ought to be a breathalyzer on the phone for like late night harness, Australia, A, B, and C. TVG shouldn't allow me to do that. They know I'm on East Coast time. If I'm betting late night harness or Australia, A, B, and C, it's time to go to
Cut
bed.
him off.
It should be like, you've lost 3 consecutive. You are cut off, right?
Yeah, right? You got to sit out for 45 minutes. There has to be like a time delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it times you out, automatic timeout.
Right.
Well, we got Dubai this week. We got Dubai World Cup on Saturday coming up this week, which is cool. Florida Derby is also a big day too, so make sure to get your. Make sure today is Wednesday, so Thursday and Friday you can still qualify in those Gulfstream contests to get a free entry into the Saturday, the big Florida Derby contest.
Huge contest, giving away 1% of a Connect Colt. You get to own the racehorse. You don't have to pay the bills. Big perk there. So make sure you get in there, and $25,000 guaranteed prize money. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure. David, Gino, Leo. It's been great. Brian, less so with you, but whatever. Say hi to your cousin.
Not my cousin.
JD.
Not my cousin.
I'm gonna just.
I'm the only one in the
change your
family
name
not
on my
related
phone.
to him.
I'm
not
like change your name to Brian Depp.
The silhouette feature on Beho here is just amazing.
I know it's like he's hiding his identity coming out about Johnny Depp.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, it's getting dark out here.
It might
Lights
actually
ain't
be
kicked on
Johnny
yet.
Depp.
No, it's far from that, I promise.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next
Cheers,
Wednesday
guys.
with another
See you
DJ
guys.
special. Make sure you head over to betterthan.vegas for all your handicapping, March Madness, and Bush Racing. Thank you as well. So we'll be back next week.